Hello, everybody. It started in the early months of this year. 8 races, and this is the final one here on NISMO TV. This is SuperGT. My name's Sam Collins, and this is the championship finale live from Twin Ring Motegi in the hills to the north of Tokyo. I'm joined in the NISMO bunker by Leigh O'Gorman on a break from DTM duty. Welcome to the bunker, Leigh.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you very much. Incredible finale we've got coming up to us, and it couldn't really be a tighter championship battle at the top of this GT 500 class. Very, very much looking forward to this.
I mean, literally couldn't have been any tighter. Both tied on points, the top 2 teams. There was 1 point to play for in qualifying yesterday, but it didn't go to either of the championship contenders. We'll take a look now at what happened in qualifying. There were people walking past the gates, waiting to pay to go in. Bright sunshine lifting after the gloom. Nissan drivers signing perhaps their contracts for next season, or maybe some autographs. Number 23 ready, but in GT300 as well. Strong performance from the gainer Tanax Nissan GT-R GT300. This is the new specification Nissan GT3 spec car. And there you go, absolutely on the place in qualifying, and that's why they were quite happy and shaking hands. Lots to see for that, because this is also a title decider in the GT300 Championship. Can anyone catch that bright orange BMW? But there are the red car, the blue car, the white car. GT500 is going to be the centre of attention this afternoon, and right now it looks like Honda has got the edge in terms of performance, with the NSXs topping the timesheets. But in GT300, that is all about the Nissan GT-R. But I looked at the mother chassis cars, the JAF GT300s. Those less conventional GT300 cars are the ones that are performing particularly well on this rather point and squirt track at Motegi. While in GT300, well, Chio doesn't look particularly happy, but he should be, because the car ran particularly well in qualifying. There you go, getting the first of the GT500 cars in 8th position. Leigh, what are you expecting to see from this fantastic session? Well, fantastic race meeting coming up at Motegi. Well, there's the drivers on the grid at the moment. We'll talk over them until we find out what's going on.
From what we've seen in practice and in qualifying, this has been very much a track for Honda so far. This, of course, an old a circuit designed and built in 1997 for Honda, but they've got 4 of their 5 NSX machines in the top 5. So on the front of that, you'd say it's probably one of their tracks, but this is a 250k race. A lot can happen.
Shortest race of the year, but it doesn't mean that the starting grid is any less busy. The Motegi GT 250 kilometre race is just about to get underway from Tochigi Prefecture, a little bit near the home of the, if you like, user. They're from a place called Utsunomiya, which is just down the road from Twin Ring Motegi, and you get particularly good gyoza in this area, but not at the track. The canteen's not particularly good. But let's have a look at that starting grid as the race gets ready to get underway. Starting up with GT500. On pole, it's Izawa in the Arta NSX alongside the championship leaders, joint championship leaders, Yamamoto and Jensen Button on second position. Alongside them, and well, behind them is the Epson Modulo NSX GT. Great performance from the Dunlop Shod car, but it gets starting that in third position. Tachikawa, the first of the Lexuses, in the Zensarumo LC500. The Keihin NSX is in fifth, for Kogura starting that. Nick Cassidy, Button's championship rival, in sixth position. We'll hear more about that in a minute. The number in seventh position is the Wed Sport Lexus. Then alongside that, first of the Nissans, it's the Craft Sports number 3 white car. Chio starts that car. Alongside the red car, the number 23 Motul Ortec GT-R, Ronnie Quintarelli at the wheel of that. Felix Rosenquist, in 10th position in the Wacos LC500. The Forum Engineering, Nissan Takaboshi starting that in 11th. Heikki Kovalainen in 12th place. The Motul Mugen NSX GT in 13th. The Calsonic Impel GT-R, the blue car, Jan Mardenborough starting that down in 14th, and Kazuki Nakajima, Le Mans winner, back of the grid in 15th in the AU Toms LC500. Don't think we'll be hearing the words team orders today from those two. The Manipa Lamborghini is on pole position in GT300. Mapelli starts that alongside the Leon Tistos AMG GT Kurosawa. Hatsune Miku is third alongside the Subaru BRZ in fourth. The Hobby 86 is fifth, and the Gainer Tanax GT-R ended up 6th after that qualifying battle. The Legal Frontier Lamborghini GT3 Motegi starts that in 7th. The first of the Toyota Prius is the final race for the mid-engined Prius. In 8th position, Kohei Hirate starts that. The modulo Kenwood NSX GT3. Can Honda clinch their first victory in GT300? I don't think so. The Arta BMW M6 GT3, Takagi and Walkinshaw, they're the championship leaders and the championship favourites, but down in 10th, they need to secure some points. Gainer Tanax in the number 10 car in 11th for Hoshino Yoshida. The K-Tunes RCF GT3, Nakayama starts that with the Cintium LM Corsa RCF GT3 in 13th, and the Cintium-sponsored Lotus in 14th. News on that car as well. 15th position is the Upguard Garage 86 mother chassis car alongside the D-Station Porsche. The Car Guy NSX GT3 is just behind that in 17th position. Second of the Priuses, Prii, is 18th position with Nagai starting that. Richard Lyons, former champion, in 19th position in his Audi. The Golf Porsche is 20th, and the Max Sayakan GT86 is in 21st position. The Saitama Toyopet Mark X mother chassis car, Takubamba starting that in 22nd. The run-up GTR in 23rd. The Taisan R8 in 24th. Could be the last race for that team, I hear, as well. The EXE AMG GT3 is in 25th. The Bentley with Yuji Ide, he formerly of Super Aguri, in 26th. The Arto RCF GT3, that's the Thai entered car in 27th. Another one of the 2 foreign cars likely to take part next year. 28th position is Green Zilla, and at the back of the grid, somebody else.
One thing to note there, Sam, actually, is we, as I said, mentioned a few moments ago that you do have the 4 of the 5 Hondas in the top 5. They're going to have to be playing very, very nicely. We will not see quite as much bumping and grinding as we were for the first corner. In case someone does take out a button in the first few corners. So I think we may see at the very front quite sedate start. The only query is the of course the car in 4th place, the Zensurumo Lexus. They're really going to make for move as well.
Well, the Lexus teams are more conjoined, shall we say, compared to the Honda teams. There's more independence amongst the Lexus runners than there is in the Honda runners. However, there are some Nissans back there that can make a bit of a difference. Cheers back there in 8th position. Good start, strong first lap, can be quite aggressive, could really make a difference to how the race pans out on the opening few laps. Now, what Button's got to do, or I think it's Yamamoto starting that car, has to do is get away on the first lap and hope that the Arta NSX or one of the other NSXs plays tail gunner. But will there be team orders? We saw that in the last round between the 2 Toms Lexus LC500s. Ooh, hero music. And the bright sunshine. I don't know what that was at. Getting ready for the national anthem, but it's going to be really interesting to see how the dynamic between the different cars play out. I think Nissan are going to get in the mix here. Jan Marden particularly likes this track, and he's a long way down. Watch him work his way back through.
Watch out too for Ronnie Quintarelli. He's starting the number 24 car in 9th place. It might be actually a good shout for some very good points and a good finish today.
He's current lap record holder. Lapped this circuit quicker that national anthem it's very solemn, but I kind of like it. Well, there is the key factor that's today is really all about. Look at that, first and second, car 100, Yamamoto and Button, Hirakawa and Nick Cassidy, both tied on 67 points. In GT300, much bigger gap between the 55 of Takagi and Walkinshaw, between Kurosawa and Gamu. There are mathematical chances for other cars to get into the mix, but I don't think it's realistic. RJ O'Connell's already put out some nice tables. You can see those on Twitter. if we have to refer to them, it's going to be a nightmare because I didn't print them off.
For Waukesha Takagi, as you said, a 12-point gap. It's 20 points for a win. So, I mean, to be brutally honest, they would have to have a little bit of a nightmare to lose this championship. Although, to make it absolutely secure, they would still need to have a top 4 finish. But, I think they will just try and drive to the front and maybe just have a level position in the top 3 or 4 just to make absolutely certain. But I don't think they're going to be fighting for the win.
But I mean, that car starts 10th position. You have to remember the BMW hasn't exactly got great form here at Motegi, or rather, the Bridge usually wins compared to the BMW. Remember, it wiped off the front end of that car a couple of years ago, I think. In the race as well, and that sort of the race have a premature end. Now it's going to be a real showdown though between that Honda and that Lexus. I just still think, because we've seen the ebb and flow, Tyre War Championship, we've seen the ebb and flow between the different tyre makers, the different car manufacturers, to see how the cars that are quick in qualifying are not necessarily quick in the race. And here at Motegi, with that really sharp nature of the track, the short race, it's going to be really fast and really furious. But I can see on the chat, we've got you on the chat in the studio. So welcome to NISMO TV. If you haven't joined us before, we'll talk to you in the chat during the race if we get time, though I'm not entirely sure we're going to, because Mr. Orange Jacket, looking very resplendent in the sun there, the master of ceremonies from Arte Autobacks, or the Autobacks group, it says on his jacket. He's very excited about this race, and he's saying that he's very, very happy. Motegi 250-kilometer grand final race. It's going to be really exciting. Who wins? Thank you, he says. And there's his flag. Surprising to see some empty seats in the grandstand here at Motegi, but because it's on the road course, you see a lot of people. You don't actually see them; they're out in the woods, essentially.
One of the things that's also notable as well, Sam, is as we were chatting about last night, Jensen hasn't won a championship of any kind since his F1 title in 2009. Nick Cassidy and Hirakawa won this championship last year. And
we were talking about this. Nick Cassidy has won more championships than Jensen Button, but in this battle between the drivers, there is a bit of what I know somebody in Zurich might call beef between these two drivers, because just a couple of weeks ago in the Super Formula Championship, the big single-seater championship that uses the same engines as the GT500 cars, Nick Cassidy was narrowly beaten to the title by Mr. Yamamoto.
Single point, Naoki Yamamoto won that. So, again, opposing teams level on points. Cassidy's going to want revenge today.
Is today going to be Cassidy's revenge or Button's glory? This is what it's going to be about. Cassidy, I discovered, we were Googling this last night, it was also won a stock car racing championship back in New Zealand. It was the F2 series on some sort of speedway which I'd never actually heard of and had to look up, and I've now forgotten the name of. So
twice Toyota Racing Series champion, twice winner of the New Zealand Grand Prix. He is one of the most versatile drivers, I think, in the world at the moment. And
without doubt. Check out that police car on the left-hand side of your screen. That is a Nissan GT-R police car. If you saw that coming, you'd just pull over, wouldn't you? You're done. The rather aged-looking NSX next to it, I think. But the GT-R is something pretty... you're not going to mess with that.
NSX more of a pickup truck, really, isn't it?
I wonder if that's going to be at NISMO Festival. The NISMO Festival's coming up on NISMO TV just at the start of next month. Trouble for the Team Mac 86. That bodywork looks a bit scorched anyway, but it hasn't moved off its grid spot. And it's just sitting there. Well, the policemen are all in line, but will that stranded GT86 mean a delayed start? I don't think so, because we still have the full pace lap after this one. As I was saying, the NISMO Festival is coming up at the beginning of next month, early December. We'll be covering it live here on NISMO TV with a fantastic set of interviews. And I think we might be seeing Rob Barth get behind the wheel at one point. I'm not sure about that.
Is that safe?
No. One car he's definitely not going to be allowed to get behind the wheel of is the Nissan Formula E car. And it's going to be making its first real proper public run at Fuji Speedway.
I'm not sure my ma would let him drive her Nissan either.
I don't think.
She's a lot of pride for her Micra. You know?
Well, he's getting on a bit. Micras are brilliant, brilliant cars. I'm looking forward to the Micra Nismo coming to Europe. There's a message to Nismo management.
Sorry, what was that, Tom?
I would like to buy a Micra Nismo, please. There you go. Official. I've said it a few times. But I would also really like to see that. I genuinely do. I'm not joking. I do want a Micra Nismo, but I really want to. This is going to sound strange. I don't normally want to have a ride in a police car, but I want to go in that GT-R police car. That looks brilliant. How cool is that?
I want one of those bikes.
I like how they're riding very much in order. They've got a bit shuffled now.
It's very disciplined. It's very disciplined.
Do you reckon they're all going to stand up and like stand on each other's bikes and make that little?
They're going in that kind of V formation.
Yeah.
Again, aren't they? Yeah.
Oh, there goes the sirens. Sound of the police there. Now here comes the Honda NSX proper pace car. So this police lap is really just for. It's just really for the police to show off and make some noise and hope that none of the motorcyclists fall off. I don't think that poor guy, and I think it was here at Motegi, will ever be forgotten for dropping it on the warm-up lap. But look at that.
Of course, as you said, this is a circuit opened 20 years ago. It was as you can see in the shot there where the cars are parked, this is, of course, the twin ring Motegi. And, of course, the outer layer of it is an oval circuit where IndyCar and several of the championships used to race on. Not really in use anymore.
Not in use at all. The circuit was damaged at a very deep level during the Great Earthquake. Back in, I think it was 2008.
2011.
2011 it was, yeah.
I know of a few things that are filmed on the oval layer, but not actually raced on it anymore.
The last really lap of any sort of pace on that oval was last year at the Honda Festival, which isn't nearly as entertaining as the Nissan version because there's no actual real racing at Honda. Whereas Nissan have some real motor races which are absolutely fantastic, including the Nismo Grand Prix, which is unmissable. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can see the last few Nismo Grand Prix here on NISMO TV. But they had a Takuma Sato turned up with Indy 500 winning car and did a medium speed lap, but had to slow down at a particular portion of track because the track was in such poor condition. And I've walked out on that banking just a few weeks ago, and it is really rough now and a little bit overgrown. It is, as you can see, used as a car park or what looks like a really brilliant NASCAR race.
Someone's put the pause button on. Let's see. I think in the final of the parade laps, the formation lap now, you can see the cars weaving on the back end of the circuit. They're trying to get heat into those tyres. And actually, it looks like it's quite a nice day at Motegi today.
It was. So we've just been created. Nick Cassidy was a stock car driver in the Western Springs Speedway F2 Midgets.
Well, there you go. And he'll be looking to add one more championship, another championship to his list today.
Oh, I haven't seen any pictures of it. I don't know if Jan's got any pictures of the F2 Speedway, the F2 Midgets at some speedway in New Zealand.
It's realistically, you hear drivers who spend their careers in various forms of single-seaters or various forms of GT cars or various forms of sprint cars, and Cassidy's done it all.
Yeah, I mean, he really has. I mean, he's missing rallying from his portfolio, but I think that's a matter of time. And we've just seen they look like the midgets that do the Chili Bowl. If you're in the States, you know what the Chili Bowl is. Nick Cassidy basically was driving one of those cars and won the championship.
It's kind of sprint cars to Tony Stewart in that race as well.
That's right. Here is the championship order, and then you notice there's a championship position change. Well, that's as if things ended right now. It's a little bit premature because the race hasn't started yet. The number 36 car, Sekiguchi, is on his own in that team order because his teammates have been swapping around through the season due to WEC commitments.
Commitments as well. And you're seeing the GT300. And if the positions were the same, Takagi and Waukesha would lose that.
Exactly. They need to obviously find 2 more points. That's just a couple of positions.
But I said they are starting 10th, so they would need to gain a few more positions. They want the top 4 to absolutely solidify that.
Sean Walkinshaw was saying to me that he didn't think he felt he was the underdog in this situation. And I said to him, have you seen your points gap? But, when you look at that...
But that's one of the things, though, where you get to a situation where you're quite far ahead, and you should be confident that you're going to win it, but there's that nagging feeling that, what if?
Well, you're looking at that man there, car 100, here on NISMO TV. This is the final race of the 2018 Super GT Championship.
And of course, Yamamoto starting the car. Button will get in at some point during the race as we get to see the car's lineup information now.
Now, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. This is NISMO TV, and this will be Super GT. The GT500 field are lining up here for 250 kilometres of flat-out action round Twin Ring Motegi. The lights are green, and there's a huge lead there for the Alta NSX. Not the cleanest start. Raybrig NSX in second position, clean into third position for the Epson car, but the Toyotas are on the case already going round the outside. That's Cassidy getting a move on the Keihin NSX. Cars still weaving to get tyre temperature. Clearly the cars are struggling. Will the Zensarumo car make space for the championship challenger? Look back though, if the tyre temperatures are low, it's a bit like it's wet. That's Jan Mardenborough territory in the blue Nissan GT-R. See about revving up. Look how much weaving's going on. They're really struggling for tyre temperature right through the field.
It's actually quite reminiscent of some of the DTM races this year, as you see the GT300's grid come to the start, a much cleaner start. But I must kind of refer back to the Arta NS6. That was a huge gap.
In GT300, Hatsune Miku made a very cheeky move to get up to second position there on the first corner. Nearly ran the second position, the outside pole sitter off the track. The Subaru is now in position. That Mercedes falling down to fourth place. The Lamborghini takes the lead, but the Nissan is being beaten up there by the Hoppy-sponsored GT86, and there is the Toyota Prius coming up into about 6th or 7th position. A couple of wheels on the dirt there, but really wanting to make its finale, not just for the season, but forever. That's the end of the Prius, but look at that, 4 wide into the right-hander. The Hoppy moves up into, I think that's 5th or 6th position, and the Toyota is working through there as well.
In front of Itzawa's leading with Yamamoto second, but then it's a gap actually to third place. It's the Epson Module NSX with Bertie Baguette seemingly at this stage kind of pinning the pack back, as it were, from the front too.
I think there's a little bit of that. Normally we say it's a long race, but it's not. But look at that orange car in the middle of the pack. The camera's focusing on a three. That is the championship leader in the number 55 car. They've got to move up through the grid because Gamu is working up through the field as well. And right now, Walkinshaw is losing the championship, but that's going to help him. The Lamborghini's gone off, and that's one easy position gained.
It's actually Takagi starting the number 55 Arta BMW today. Walkinshaw getting in later on. But as you said, that's one position gain. And 2, 3 wide coming down the back straight. Some awesome racing in GT300 over the years.
It's got to be really hard for the crew of that BMW because they've got to be thinking, we've got to move up the field, but we've got to keep it clean because if we're off, we're out. We've lose the championship.
These cars, we did mention it on the first lap of the race, but they were still weaving. Now, they've got the tyres up to temperature now, but it does.
But look at the damage on the Keihin. The Keihin NSX has got huge damage on the front end. The bonnet is all over the place. I'm not sure what happened to the Keihin, but look at the damage on that Honda NSX. Now, has he been in the back of Nick Cassidy's Lexus LC500? We can't see the rear end, but look at that damage on the Keihin.
He's definitely rear-ended someone in the opening miles of this lap. It's Cassidy.
He's going to have to stop that car. The airflow going under that bonnet is going to tear it off. Kaguri is going to be very much aware of that damage. He's going to be struggling to see because they sit so low in these cars as well. And in the pits he comes.
Straight in, absolutely. And he needed, and not even just vision. The actual drivability of that car is going to go out the window very.
Do you know something? I think that's finger trouble. I don't think that's impact. I think someone's not put the bonnet on properly because there's no other damage. The front dive planes are all in position, and there's nothing else awry on any of the other cars. Now that is the championship fight. Right now, the Raybrig NSX is clearly leading. Now, as the Keihin gets its. Bolt it back on.
I don't see any actual front damage. It looks like the bolts have come out.
Yeah, straight on, no damage done. I think that was finger trouble.
Unusual.
Now the 55 BMW working its way up on the rear of the NSX there. The NSX in turn getting a clean run on the Hoppy 86. The Hoppy 86 moves over. Now will the rejoining GT500 just about to mix it into the GT300 field as the NSX gets past the 86 there.
And the other thing to know, Sam, is very shortly we're going to start to see some lap pain as well. So we're going to get some additional mixing up in the fields as the GT500s begin to come through the GT300s.
We have an onboard camera during a race. This is the first time. And we're on board with Takagi in that championship leading BMW. And look how close he's getting to the back of the Hoppy 86. There's got to be some paint traded there. And you can see the Honda NSX just in front. He pulls over into that battle. I mean, that's what the traffic looks like. How is he staying out of the back of that car?
Lots of movement in front, particularly for the K-Tunes RSF up 5 positions. And the Arta and the pole position Manipa Hurricane are the only ones who've actually kind of held position from their starting points.
It's not looking good for the 55 because the D-Station Porsche is trying to go around the outside of him. He's got to be defensive. He cannot lose any positions, and he's got to make places. But at the same time, he can't take any risks. Sven Müller is on the back of Takagi, and if he doesn't get this move done on the Hoppy 86, he's gonna lose that championship position. Sean Walkinshaw knows that. That face knows everything, and he can listen to us as well.
The nervous look in his face. It was a good start actually by Sven Müller. Started 16th in the D-Station Porsche, so already taken 5 positions as it is.
It's only been 4 laps.
See the.
There's Hatsune Miku gone up to 2nd position, Subaru 3rd, Nissan 4th, 5th is the Leon Mercedes. There's the Prius, following up the 1st of the Lexus, NSX. There's that battle.
And it's Takagi seems to kind of half move to go for a look, but then pulls back in. It's almost not confident.
It's got clumsy lunge written all over it.
And meanwhile, Mepelli leading the GT300 category in a Manipa Lamborghini. A very solid job so far, very good. 2.8 seconds up and leading with ease at this point.
So you heard us mention at the start of the show, look, there's the battle. As things stand, Walkinshaw is in the correct position because Gamuv lost position, but Hatsune Miku is just 1 point off the championship. Look at that. The championship connotations are all over the place in GT300. That's going to take some getting used to, but thankfully we've got this graphic. But we did talk about the fact that this is the last ever race for the number 30 and number 31 car, Koki Saga and Kohei Hirate in those Toyota Prius, as the BMW has a run on the Hoppy 86 and we cut away from it just at the wrong moment, so I don't know how that ended. We'll wait to see which car. No, the Hoppy 86 is still in position. He didn't quite get it done there. But the Prius, I've been told this, and it is not confirmed by APR because I haven't actually had time to talk to Kaneso, who builds the cars, both the Priuses, Prii, down in Atsugi, near Fuji Speedway. But my understanding is that the Prius is going to be replaced by a Prius.
But I'm assuming it's obviously not going to be the same LMP1 engined car because that's finishing out this race.
That's right. It's going to be the end of the mid-engine Prius, but there's going to be a new Prius with a front engine position, and that's going to use the engine that you can see that Lexus GT3 car. There's the Cintium version. It's going to take the engine out of that and put it in the front of the Prius GT300. Now this is not confirmed, as the GT500 runners work their through GT300.
And Takagi makes the move.
Nope, that's the race leader in GT500. Just he's been out on his own, the Alta NSX. And there is the Prius. Producers remembered what we're talking about. Battling for fifth position there. Kohei Hirate. Interesting rumours about. Oh, and 2 wheels on the grass. Oh, it's all over the track trying to get past like the Leon Mercedes.
Now, will that be?
That's just spirited driving.
It was quite aggressive to say the least.
It's fair. I mean, it's fair driving. And is that trouble for the BMW? The BMW, the number 55 BMW, is pulled out of line and is now just about. I think he was just trying to have a go or being defensive with that modulo Honda behind him. And I think they've both got the modulo Honda because the D-Station Porsche is scrapping with that. And well, that could be crucial for championship points. We'll see. 6 laps done out of 53. Blimey.
And of course, the Hatsune Miku Zero car, 2nd place in GT300 at the moment. And as we see, the Takagi up to 9th place in the Arta M6. And as we mentioned at the start, every position counts for the Arta boys. They need top 4, but especially with the Hatsune Miike car up near the front.
This is crucial now. The race leaders in GT500 are right in the middle of this GT300 pack. You'll see them popping up. There's the Epson NSX. You'll see there is the Raybrigg NSX, the Arta NSX. Now, just one misstep from any of these GT500 cars. There's the other championship battle going on. Now, all you need to remember with the championship battle in GT500 is keep your eyes on the Red Bull livery keeper Tom's LC500. There he is. If he's behind the Raybrigg NSX, Raybrigg wins the championship. If he's in front of the Raybrigg NSX, the keeper Toms wins the championship.
And the gap's only 3 seconds at this point, Sam. Even with, look at this absolute gaggle of cars coming down a start-finish straight. The gap's only 3 seconds as it stands. So
Prius has got a point to prove here. I mean, if he can't get past that Mercedes GT3 very soon, I think Hirate is going to hit the hybrid button. It's just going to eat the Leon car. And, well, calm down a little bit there. It's one of the most popular cars in Super GT.
The thing is, was Hirate just behind Kurosawa a moment ago. That defence by the Mercedes is kind of a little bit of a warning. It's almost a Mercedes driver saying you're not going to get through in this position, and that kind of moment sticks in a driver's minds. They remember those kind of moments.
Here comes the Nissan pack. Look, there's the red car of Ronnie Quintarelli. Just behind it is the Tom's LC500. Just behind that, I saw the Forum Engineering car. I saw the white number 3 car just a little way out of the road, and I saw Jan Mardenborough briefly in that shot. There he is, just behind.
And Nakajima has passed Quintarelli there. Quintarelli caught out a little slightly by the GT300 car, allowing the AU LC500 through for 10th place.
I'm a little bit surprised to see both the red car and the blue car so far down the field at this race, because this Jan Mardenborough ranks Motegi as his favourite Super GT circuit. I'm not sure why, he just kind of likes it. And Ronnie Quintarelli is the lap record holder here, so they're both very quick round here, but it just seems that today the conditions or whatever haven't come quite to the Nissan GT-R GT500, but give it time, as the tyres will go through that evolution. They're quite soft, a very soft compound compared to some of the other races we go to. And it's a tyre war, 4 different tyre makers, 3 different compounds of slick tyre per tyre maker. It's very confusing. We don't know which compound each car is on until after the race.
As you see the top 2 in GT500 coming past the Mercedes and the Toyota Prius, battling over 5th place in GT300. They'll soon have a lap over the entire GT300 field. And
look at Cassidy really on the tail of the Zensarumo. Now
so close to rear-ending the NSX.
Yeah, but this is fascinating, because the Zensarumo is very, very close now to the back end of the Epson NSX, but the Zensarumo will jump out of the way. And look what's just in front. What's just in front of him? It's the Raybrigg car. We're going to have a championship battle on track here at Motegi. That's going to be fascinating to see.
And you can just see the Raybrigg car is actually only a second or so up the road as well. The gaps are not forming at any stage of this kind of race, because the GT300s, when they're lapping the field, they're actually combining the GT500s together almost.
This is the ebb and flow of Super GT, but also making it more complicated than pretty much any other race series, is it's still got this proper tyre war going on. So the tyres will suddenly pick up, pace will pick up and drop off in particular cars, and it makes for great racing. It's exactly what Formula 1 needs, actually. It's a decent tyre, well, not this made-up soft, medium, hard, whatever compound. A brave move around the outside of the Gainer Tanak's Nissan there, the number 11 there, but Cassidy is absolutely on it.
Cassidy taking a chance, but he actually has to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Hirakawa waiting, he's saying,
listening to us, I believe.
He is, yeah. He didn't look too happy with the chances taken, but look at the gap there between, and this is the important graphic, 2nd position, Raybrigg NSX, 5th position, the keeper Tom's car, but look at the gap coming down as the race comes on. That is caused by the traffic, but it does seem like the Raybrigg team Yamamoto is a little bit more circumspect in that traffic than Cassidy, who's absolutely on it. He doesn't want to lose another championship.
As you see, the Epson NSX with Bertie Baguette in 3rd place. He's had up and down season of the 64 Epsom car.
Just noticed something funny in the chat. F1 inferiority complex. Obviously, not realising I'm a Formula 1 journalist. I quite like Formula 1. The Epson NSX is really doing his job particularly well at the moment. Bertie Baguette is just playing a very wide Dunlop shod NSX.
And the car, the gaps have actually begun to expand slightly from the top to the 36 car, the Epsom car. And
that's the Zen car just going past the Lamborghini there. That's the lead of the GT300 pack just at the front of the GT500 pack, which means we get a little bit of calm for a while. Well, unless you're in the Forum Engineering car trying to get past that very spirited Prius.
But I think the GT500 drivers have got to be very careful as well when they are lapping, when they're coming up to battles like that, because they don't want to get taken out in someone else's move, someone else's accident.
A couple of weeks ago, I was standing down at this first right-hand corner, looking at the GT500 cars turning in, braking, and the mid-corner phase. And it's really interesting with the GT500 cars how different the driving styles are on the different tyres, but also between driver to driver. So Chio in the number 3 car, you can really see he's got very strange throttle sort of application as the GT300 the Prius.
Curacao is determined to keep that 5th position in the Mercedes Leon car.
If you remember, the old Prius went out on a victory, the predecessor of this Prius, which was then built into this Prius. But that went out on a victory here at Motegi, and I think the APL team want to repeat that feat. But yeah, watching the different cars through that first turn here at Motegi was really interesting because you could see the difference in styles, and it did look like the Lexus was overall the smoothest car and consistently the best car. The Honda, because it's mid-engined, had a slightly different turn in and slightly different mid-corner, whereas the Nissan drivers are all doing it slightly differently. And you could see some slightly different setup characteristics between the cars. But I do think that the Lexus is going to come into its own in the next, if you're looking 10 laps done, I would expect to see pit stops basically mid-race point, 25, 26 laps complete, and then we'll see the cars coming in. And I think just running up to that point, as the tyres start to wear, you'll see the Lexus suddenly become a lot stronger.
And track temperature, 30 degrees Celsius, Sam. It's not exactly burning these various sets of tyres away in any great shape or form. Of course, we are heading towards the end of the year, so it's slightly cooler, although still quite a balmy day in Motegi, 24 degrees Celsius.
It's nice. It looks like it's a nice day out, essentially. I wouldn't mind sitting there eating some gyoza myself. And instead, we're in the Nismo bunker watching this absolutely brilliant battle between the number 31 Toyota Prius and the GT3 specification Leon Mercedes. And this quality of racing is just fantastic, and the fact that we've got this live here on NISMO TV. But don't think this may be the last round of Super GT, but we do have coming up. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We've got the NISMO Festival coming up with that first public run of the new Nissan Formula E car, and I think there's some pretty special stuff going on around that, so stay tuned for that. And I don't actually know what they're planning to do, but I know it's looking like it's going to be really, really good. The Nismo Grand Prix, of course, is GT500 versus GT3 versus GT4 versus anything else they found knocking around in the pit lane. It's always good to watch the Nismo Grand Prix. That, of course, will be live and in full here on NISMO TV. But first, we've got still quite a couple of hundred more kilometres around Twin Ring Motegi, this road course out in the mountains. Top 4 in GT500 are holding station for now. Somebody who isn't is Ronnie Quintarelli, getting the move done there on Heikki Kovalainen. That looked a little bit easy. Not much fight from the Finn there, the Italian getting the move done. Off after their Tom's car.
And of course, the other as we mentioned about drivers who are trying to make their tyres last somewhat. Actually, I think, the AU car also got past Kovalainen. They're at a phase where they're trying to make their cars, make the tyres last to the next pit stop, managing the pace, and sometimes that means they're not in a position where they're pushing it.
This is a crucial battle. Hatsune Miku is being hunted now by Iguchi in the Subaru BRZ. Subaru BRZ, of course, built to the JAF GT300 rulebook. That's based on the production Subaru BRZ, unlike the GT86 cars you see, which are built by Dome. And that is a dead Lexus.
It's number 60 car with Miata at the wheel, and it's got.
Well, just wanted to do a burnout, I think. Control, Alt, Delete, show off.
Unusual. I don't see any marks on the road to see us for a spin.
Nope.
Very unusual.
Maybe needs to reset something, and then it all started to work. But that BRZ is built to the JAF GT300 rulebook, which means it's got real production car parts in. The engine in the front of that car is a flat 4, 2-litre flat 4 turbocharged, and based on the Subaru World Rally Championship engine back in the day.
It's quite a few years ago now, but it's still a very, very useful motor. So Ukyo Katayama,
Hatsune Miku's boss,
former Formula 1 driver and climber of Everest.
Yes. Climbed Everest and Mount Fuji repeatedly. Good friend of Gerhard Berger. Wonder if that helps in DTM. Well, here we go. Still trying to get past the Hoppy 86. That car built to the GT300 mother chassis regulations, the Hoppy 86. That means it's got a carbon fibre monocoque and an off-the-shelf 4.5-litre normally aspirated V8 engine, which looks extremely similar to some other things seen around the Nismo bunker, but couldn't possibly be one of those. GTA branded engine, and that car is essentially designed and developed by Dome, the same company that's raced at Le Mans a number of times. And they were responsible for the design of the GT300 mother chassis and the entire concept, and it seems to work very well. Very light on the tyres.
As we're watching this battle for second and third place in GT300, I mean, look at the Manipa Huracan. It's got himself quite a lead actually at the start of at the top of the GT300 standings, 7.3 seconds. The fight very much going on behind. Now, obviously, the Hatsune Miku car do not want to lose any more positions, particularly with the Arta M6 in 9th place as it is, and battling with the Hoppy 25 for 8th position.
And speaking of these battles going on through the field, that Zensurumo LC Lexus still hasn't got the move quite done on the Epson, but if it does, he could open the door for the Keeper Tom's LC500 to get into that battle with the Raybrig NSX, which is just up the road. The Raybrig car isn't getting away at all. Now,
the Tachikawa's actually pulled back in towards Baguette, and the gap was a couple of seconds. Cassidy has fallen about 2 seconds behind this fight, and as Tachikawa has a look, and when Baguette brakes, you really see the brake dust coming out of the right front there.
And only 14 laps done, that's quite early to see that much. But look at this, the Raybrig car really isn't breaking away from this battle, and in clean air, the Keeper Tom's car now...
Do you think he's lost pace, or is he actually just pulled back to calm things down slightly?
Well, I wonder if he's pulled back just the whole thing. There's Andre Lotterer.
Looking like a pop star from the 1980s.
Well, that's always what he looks like. But Andre Lotterer, could he be making a full-time return to Japanese racing? Lots of rumours about who will be driving some of these cars next season. Cassidy will definitely be in one of these cars, and I think Hirakawa will be. But where could Lotterer end up? In the Toyota garage, by the look of it.
He had some experience, quite a lot of experience of racing in Japan over the years.
Very surprised that he never managed to get a deal to race the Toyota LMP1 car.
And of course, one Grand Prix.
Yeah, one
a couple of corners.
Yeah. Belgian Grand Prix in the Caterham. He set off at the same time as everybody else and destroyed the clutch.
Yeah.
Or was the clutch just broken?
I think it's hard. I think he may have put the 50p in before the start of the race.
Yeah, well, I think that was kind of the situation with that team at that point. That NASCAR race in the background's looking very exciting.
And it's Katoka in the Zero car. He was second place at the moment.
Oh, and
he's done it.
Well, there's no instant replay, but the 25 car's going to have a run up the inside, and are they going to touch? Oh, that was extremely close between the Hoppy 86 and the BMW, but the BMW, I think, has just driven back into the championship lead.
That was a key move for Takagi to take. We're going to see a replay of it here, and it goes down the back straight that we've seen him kind of make it have a look. And almost actually outbraked himself on the exit of the corner. But he had to, as you mentioned earlier on, it was looking like a lunge. He had to make that move.
I also think the driver of the number 25 Hoppy 86 will be grumpy because he didn't see that coming. I'd be worried though. Sean Walkinshaw, we can see that there he is sitting in the garage. You can see his legs going away with the nerves. Now, a driver that's that wound up, that nervous before they get in the car, he might take a few risks or he might make some silly mistakes. It's the real pressure is on him as the second driver to bring it home in a championship position, and the pit crew to not make a mistake.
And this is a race that could very well be decided in the pits. Now, I believe off the top of my head, that does put the Arta M6 in the championship lead of GT300 by 2 or 3 points. I'm not entirely sure, but
it's certainly enough. I mean, the Hatsune Miku car there is not making any inroads on the Lamborghini. The Subaru,
it's far too far behind.
The Subaru and the Honda, the Nissan behind it, are not really making any effect at the moment. But look at this. It looks like Yamamoto may have picked up the pace slightly in the Ray Brig NSX as the Arta car is getting a little bit closer to the front of this number 100 blue Honda.
Given a hurry up, do you think?
No, maybe it's just an optical illusion. I was just looking. Now we've got the times on the screen. It doesn't look actually. Maybe a couple of attempts here and there. Kunimitsu, they had to buy all sorts of new pit garaging and security measures when they signed a certain West Country driver from England. But as you see, the battle between second and fifth is the gap's going out a little bit. But we're about to get back into the GT300 traffic. As you can see, if you look at the top of your screen, you'll see there's the Epson car, then the Zensurumo, and you just saw the bottom of the Keeper Tom's car coming around that corner. A little bit of a gap, but this battle's looking quite spicy. A Le Mans winner versus arguably one of the best sports car drivers never to really make an impact on overseas sports car racing, Ronnie Quintarelli.
Yeah, I mean, Quintarelli's always been very, very, very fast. And many, many times over the years, we've seen him just put in epic race after epic race. But you're right, he's not really made a significant mark in the wider international racing scene. But, you know, he is a driver of quite high quality.
Quite high quality. There is an understatement. It's one of the best in the world, without a doubt. I do think his teammate might be slightly quicker, but I'm not sure. It's always a bit of a. There's always a bit of who's quicker. Oh, we've got some news to announce. Oh dear, I probably won't fit. I've just been told I might be going out in a GT1 car at NISMO Festival.
Yeah, you're going to have to sit very, 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 very low in that car.
Yeah. Is that with a certain German driver? I suspect it is. He's going to be quite cruel to me as well. Okay. Michael Crum, who drives that car just because he loves it. Every year at NISMO Festival, the GT1 car is rolled out and Michael Crum is not allowed to get out of it.
They were absolutely monster cars.
I'd like us to try and do an interview
while driving
on the lap. Yeah. Now here we go. Ryo Hirakawa has got his helmet on. He's getting kitted up. Lap 17. Now this is early. A little bit early, but are they trying to make something with the tyres? It's a short race. 250 kilometres means some of the cars may be able to go the race distance without changing all four tyres, or maybe without changing tyres at all. Will the Keeper Tom's LC500 be able to do it? Well, not if you drive over the curbs like that, Mr. Cassidy. I reckon these GT500 drivers are going to miss those Prius cars. There's the AU Tom's car. So Yu Sakaguchi is also getting ready. So it looks like Toms are running the same strategy on both of their LC500 cars. I doubt we'll see the team orders again here. Toms denied those team orders at the end of the last race. The rest of the world have got eyes. And it was probably the least convincing denial since
Austria 2002.
Yeah. So Keeper Tom's car is beginning to close up a little bit on the Lexus. A lot of people holding position here. Like this battle here, they're not scrapping. They're just watching each other and looking for that opportunity.
Again,
and that's how you don't do it.
The Epson NSX has it actually dropped off 4 seconds from second place at the moment, and that's kind of keeping the Zensurumo and the Tom's car in fourth and fifth place quite close by. But the third, fourth, and fifth had dropped about 4 seconds behind second place, the 100, the Ray Brig NSX. As we see this fantastic battle for second, third, and fourth in GT300. Now Hatsune Miku Katoka in that car is not going to want to lose any positions.
They can't lose positions, but I think that the Hatsune Miku car is holding up the Subaru and the Nissan.
The interesting thing, though, about, as you see the gap on screen there, 10.8 seconds. So if you take up the theory that now the win may actually be out of the calling for the rest of the cars, that kind of changes the outlook in the championship for the number 0 car, because second may now be the highest that they can get.
In that situation, you just have to go for the win. FTW, as they say. I'm still trying to process that GT1 information, and the way that information was broken to me was pre-planned, and it's lap 18, which means there may be more news coming. Yeah, and I've just got a look and said, okay, there's more to this. Righto. Yeah. Not quite sure what's going to happen there, but there's the Hatsune Miku car just being slowed up by that very slow green Mercedes GT.
The Manipa Lamborghini's got some very, very, very good pace. To pull in a nearly 11-second gap in the first 18 laps.
No, I mean,
11.5-second gap in the first 18 laps. As we see the pit stops beginning.
That's the Modulo NSX, car 34. First scheduled stop, I suspect. Lap 19, a little bit early, but not outside of it.
And of course, we've already seen one pit stop today. It was the number 17 Keihin NSX. Came in at the end of the first lap because of a dislodged bonnet. Here's the thing about the GT500 battle that we're watching right now. I'm wondering if the keeper Tom's car is trying to preserve tyres. I wonder if this is all about pit stop strategy. Do you think he'll change tyre, or maybe only change 2 tyres?
That's what I'm thinking. And then is the Raybrig kind of trying to do the same, which is why he's not scampering off or getting involved in scraps at the moment.
And of course, the Raybrig car's done that a few times earlier on this year.
That's right, yeah. We've seen it. So in the very first race, we thought Jenson Button isn't really suited to this Super GT malarkey because he was so slow. It wasn't that he was slow; he was preserving his tyres. So,
and that was they were long stints actually as well.
RJ O'Connell is saying the same about the Hatsune Miku car, I think, and saying that they're on tyre preservation duty as well.
Now that can either work very, very well because you save some time in the pit stops, as we see Nohiro.
Race leader is coming in, so Nojiri is waiting to take over the Arta NSX. There it is.
But kind of, how much time do you think would end up being lost if they do run those tyres for the whole stint of the race?
It's a difficult one because we don't know what the tyre compound's in. As the race leader, number 8, comes into the pit lane, will he be followed by the Raybrig car? I don't think he was. No, everybody else has gone past.
Yeah, I think it's just a number 8 on its own.
So lap 20, that is an early stop. Now, they can change tyre compound at the pit stop. They could go to a harder compound for the second stint. They could do something that suits the other driver more. 2 to the fronts are definitely getting done.
I think
that's the rears as well.
Yeah, it's a full change.
Also into the pits is the number 23 Motul Ortec GT-R and the blue car following it in. I think there's Jan Mardenborough. Here he is, about to hand over that Nissan to Daiki Sasaki. So that is obviously very much the schedule. So I think these are the guys who are all sitting on the Bridgestone tyres and have found a strategy that works on that tyre. All four boots done on the Arta NSX. Pretty textbook pit stop there for Super GT.
And of course, the only non-Bridgestone starter in the top 6 to start this race was, of course, the Epsom NSX. It started on Dunlops. The other top 6, rest of the top 6 at the start were all Bridgestones.
Yeah, it seems like the Michelin's on the number 23 are just not there today. Whereas last year they had a really very good tyre. No tyre warmers, of course, so you'll see this, the pace of the cars very slow as they come out of the pits. As again, a Tanex car tries to go around the outside of the Subaru BRZ. Will he make that one stick, or is Hatsune Miku going to get in the way? I think he's got that one done.
He's done it. Very good. Very, very, very well done. Yasuda taking 3rd place from Iguchi.
For now.
But that's one of the things you also need to take into account when we are monitoring tyre strategies, is that you can put into your calculator how long how slow you'll be in the actual pit lane. You'll put in how long your pit stop's going to be, but then you have to in theory, think about how much time you're going to lose on your outlap as well. Because on cold tyres on these cars, you can lose 3 to 4 seconds, depending on the temperature today, depending on the length of the track. And I've seen some very strange incidents. And you see the 65 Leon and the Prius.
He's been threatening to do this for quite a long time. I think he's got made to look. Well, I think that deserves a whole load of likes and subscribes to NISMO TV. Last time we're going to see this car on track, so if you want to hit more likes and subscribe, you want to see more of it, hit like and we'll make sure it appears on screen a lot more before the end of this race.
And really force the issue there, and I think that was what the Prius driver needed to do.
Yeah.
I think overtaking in the traditional positions wasn't happening at all. This is Motegi.
It's just I mean, he's probably wondering where everybody else has gone today.
It's just rolling out lap after lap after lap after lap, and making it seem quite easy.
Well, there's Psychic overlining. You didn't miss him. He just got overtaken by 2 cars. Hello. No, is that the number 31 or the number 30 that's way down? No, there's trouble for the Lamborghini there. Look, he's got a puncture. Left rear.
Left rear. Well, we spoke only a few moments ago that the win was almost out of contention, so far ahead with the Minipa Lamborghini, but it's not now.
That's gone. That's a big championship implication as well. Hatsune Miku moving up to the front of the field. This is the race leader in GT300. There's a championship squabble going on in that field. He's lost a chunk of time now. No major damage done yet from that left rear tyre failure.
I think the only fortunate thing was it was in the latter half of that lap that he really seemed to lose time as he pulls, and it falls into in around when they needed to do a tyre stop anyway. So this would be done on the fly, but it's still not in any way desired.
It means a very slow in lap, and that has cost him positions. We've seen it on track. And Hatsune Miku has taken the lead. Now, I'd like to see that championship points table now.
So the
Epson car is also in, as is the Zensurumo. We were looking at the Lamborghini. We didn't see what was going on down. That's the Leon Mercedes there as well. So all the front runners in both cars. There goes the Leon Mercedes coming out of the pits. Now, this is all crucial action now. Epson, all four Dunlops on that car. The Minipa Lamborghini now finally gets back out with a new driver and a decent set of tyres. The Golf Porsche coming in. He's not really in contention, but the Leon Mercedes now look at the gap between the Leon Mercedes and the number 88 Minipa Lamborghini. That's how much it cost them.
I'd be interested to know how that puncture came about as well, because the Minipa Lamborghini was out on his own.
Yeah, he was. So.
Did he go? Is that a difficulty for drivers at Motegi? Could you get punctures by going on to the curbs here?
I think you can always get punctures by going off track slightly, but I mean that just happens. Here's our race leader at the moment. It's Naoki Yamamoto, Super GT champion, perhaps. We'll find out in a few laps' time, and Super Formula new 2018 champion, but. Will it be Cassidy's revenge? Not right now, we're not seeing that, but there's still got to be tyre stops for both championship contenders. And you can just look up the road and you could see Cassidy coming for him. There's Hatsune Miku now into the pits from the lead of GT300. Where will she rejoin? I think Nob will be taking that over. There he is.
Taniguchi.
Nobody better. No one better. Very good story on his background as a racing driver on Super GT World. I think RJ O'Connell will probably post a link to that on the chat, if you can post links on the chat. I'm not sure if you can. If you can, RJ, post a link on the chat. We've got more than 2,000 of you watching and only 340 of you like this. We need more than 1,000 likes for the final race of the season, so we can show our bosses how great Super GT is and we can bring it back to you next year.
If Sam doesn't get 1,000 likes, he doesn't get dinner this evening.
I know, right? And it's a long time till that Brazilian dinner.
2,000 likes and we'll actually give him a fork and knife.
What's they for? Why use those sticks?
3,000 likes will give you a plate.
Well, I like my yam anyway. So, looking at the GT500 field, you're going to see a little bit of ebb and flow at the moment as cars make their pit stops, then coming out on the cold, absolutely stone-cold tyres, and you'll see the pace vary. Well, Hatsune Miku coming out on those cold tyres and obviously being absolutely swallowed alive by those GT500 cars, but that's what you expect. And there's another puncture.
Again, it's the same tyre, Sam.
Well, that's just weird.
It is.
Is there a bit of bodywork or a bit of suspension cutting the tyres on that car?
It's the same car.
No, it was the right rear last time, wasn't it? This is the left rear.
No, it's left rear as well.
Yeah, you're right. It was. You're right. It was the left. Well,
so that's two left rear punctures.
And this driver isn't.
He's only been in 2 laps.
This driver's going way too quickly back into the pits as well.
He's going to destroy the bodywork at the back end of the car.
And that could bring out a safety car if it does completely flail around like it's looking like it's threatening to do.
Right in front of the Yamamoto,
NSX, But if that stays on that camera angle, oh no, we didn't quite get to see the gap back to the Keeper Tom's car, and that was telling because it was a very big gap. Meanwhile, the red car and the blue car are having a race, which is never never ends well.
It's Sekiguchi in the 36LC 500, the AU car.
It's Daiki Sasaki versus Sugio Matsuda, and Sekiguchi at the front of that group. And well, I think Sugio Matsuda isn't going to hang around there. I always wondered if Matsuda, his surname, is any relation to Matsuda near Fuji Speedway. Yeah, he's wondering that as well. Well, there's a Lamont shouting at somebody and smiling. He doesn't seem too upset about the being out of the points at the moment. 8.1 seconds, as you're pointing out there, between the championship fight, first and second. Yeah,
so Yamamoto leading the race at the moment in the Raybrig 100. In second place, as we're in the middle of pit stops, is the Keeper Tom's car. But as I said, 8.1 seconds is the gap. It's actually opened up quite a bit over the last few laps. As the number 6 Wacos car comes into the pits.
Team Le Mans, rumours about them switching to Aston Martin for 2019. I think those rumours are wide of the mark. Could they switch to Aston Martin for 2020? Who knows? Class 1 regulations will not be fully deployed in Super GT. It's going to be Class 1 plus Alpha, which means that NSX mid-engine car may be allowed to compete at this very circuit as the Prius gets the move done on the Subaru, or does it? Yeah, I think it's got to now. Hit that boost button. Hit the like button, hit the boost button. That's what he's trying to do. He's pressing those like buttons, but not quite enough electrons in that motor, perhaps. I think it's a right-hander next, and the Subaru's got it with that flat foreplay. Oh, but he's gone sideways coming out of the corner, and the Prius has got him up the inside.
Harate's through.
Fantastic racing.
Harate's through, takes second place from the Subaru.
For now, though. Iguchi is, well, they're due a pit stop, both of them. But this is a battle between the 2 JAF GT300 cars. These cars are specifically built for Super GT, nothing else. Occasionally they might pop up in intercontinental
something
GT challenge races. I think we've seen the Prius in the race at Sepang, and I think it scared all the European GT3 cars, this insane V8 engine, mid-engine hybrid thingy.
But going back to the overall race leaders, there's now 8.9 seconds between the 100 Raybrig and the number 1 Keeper Tom's. We were talking earlier on about tyre strategy, about having tyres and making them last the entire race, or possibly only changing 2 tyres at 1 pit stop. And at this stage, it really doesn't look as if that strategy is working out for the number 1 Keeper Tom's car. The gap being nearly 9 seconds at this stage is getting close to the point where it might be insurmountable as the number 61 Subaru BRZ comes in for 3rd place in GT300.
Let's see what Scooby can do in the second half of the race. But I think you're right. I mean, there you go. The Raybrig car is I think that they're watching each other. It's like two gunfighters eyeing each other across the saloon bar, but this guy's got more bullets in his 6-shooter.
But also that, if they are running the same strategy...
Look at the consistency of that lap time as well.
If they're running the same strategy, at what point did the Keeper Tom's crew think, well, is this working? This isn't working. The Keeper Tom's guys are losing about 0.8 of a second a lap at the moment. That strategy, as it stands at the moment, is not working for them at all.
Well, of course, if they don't change tyres in the Keeper Tom's car, then that gap's eliminated altogether. Now, there's Jensen Button sitting ready to get
But do we think the Raybrick team are going to change tyres, or will they only change 2?
Well, I think the Raybrick team are waiting for the Keeper Tom's team to blink first. It's about who's going to pit first, and they're going to copy each other. And I think that's the little briefing that Jensen just had there, was being told, look, you've got to wait. And then the Keeper Tom's guys are sitting there going, well, we're waiting for the Raybrick guys.
Thing is, with an 8.9 second gap, that's more than enough for the Raybrick car to come in, do the pit stop, get changed, go out, but also give away time while the tyres are warming up and still come out and still have a 4-second lead at the end of it if they pit later than the...
Prius is on a mission, second position, moving up, leading against the leading Nissan GT-R GT3, the final ever race for the Toyota Prius in GT300, at least the mid-engine variant, and they take the lead as the Gainer Tanax GT-R probably wisely gets into the pit lane, but that car is the new spec Nissan GT-R GT3 and could provide a real threat for a race victory at the end of today. Still, we're at the upper end of the pit window. The Prius hasn't stopped, and nor have either of the title contenders. And actually, I don't think we've seen the BMW in the pits, have we? We haven't seen Sean Walkinshaw take control of the number 55 Arta Autobacks BMW.
Well, we certainly haven't seen it on screen at this stage.
No, and I don't think they have stopped. Hironaka takes over control of the Gainer Tanax GT-R.
It looks chaotic, but this is a highly practiced situation in the pits. Even if it does look quite all over the place at times, these guys know exactly what they're doing.
And those Dunlop tyres, new set of those. A lot of guys in GT300 prefer the Yokohama tyre, but the Dunlop seems to be working quite well on that car right now. But we've got to look at down the field as the Raybrick ticks past another lap, and in the background you can see the Keeper Tom's car clicking up another lap. 28 laps now complete. They're going for the Lotus Evora strategy on both of these cars. Stay out as long as possible. Had to go for a pretty hard compound to make that strategy work, which could explain their relative lack of speed compared to some of the other cars in the class. There's Hatsune Miku. She's going to have a squabble with a Toyota Prius. A bit like waiting for a late Uber. I've never been in an Uber. Have you not?
Yeah, they're interesting. As I see Jensen Button on screen there, waiting to get into the Raybrick 100. Could this be his first title since 2009?
Well, his second ever title, as we were working out. The third title.
Yeah.
He won the British Formula Ford Championship
In 1998.
He won something called the Formula One World Championship.
Never heard of it.
In 2009, driving for a team called Braun, which existed for 1 year only, and then became something called Mercedes Grand Prix. They're quite good, I hear. And will Super GT be his third ever championship title? Well, still quite a long way to go. And as we've seen with the Manipa Lamborghini, strange stuff happens in Super GT.
You see after the stops, the Zensurumo car still stuck behind the 64 Epson NSX.
Hydrogen. That's what I didn't talk about last time. Hydrogen.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I must have missed the first part of that.
No. I was thinking to myself about hydrogen. I was at the Science Museum the other day. That's what I was thinking of in London about hydrogen. Yes, there's a possibility we might see a hydrogen-fueled car racing in GT300 car in the not-too-distant future, even maybe as early as next year. And that's that sort of stuff. The alternative fuels and the new sort of fuel technologies are really interesting, because I still wonder, and what I still suspect, that Nissan is going to build a new Leaf NISMO RC. Now, Nissan obviously is best-selling supplier of electric cars in the world. But a few years ago, if you Google Nissan Leaf NISMO RC, I think that was the last time I drove competitively as well, was driving that car. It was essentially what became the GT300 mother chassis car. Dome developed this car, and it used the Nissan Leaf standard production components, but in a full-on GT300 style race car, and it was really rather quick.
There was a hydrogen car tested at, or did a demonstration lap at Spa. About 4 or 5 weeks ago at the ELMS race?
Yeah, I mean, that car's also Was that the GT spec one or the LMP spec one?
I think it was the GT spec one.
Okay. Because the LMP, the green GT hydrogen LMP has done a couple of demo laps at Le Mans, but no one really noticed because they didn't announce it was going to do the lap, and then just turned up, did the lap, and they put it straight on a trailer and drove away, which is slightly odd. Hydrogen is a real challenge, but electric cars, an electric car on Super GT would be very interesting to see. Nissan Leaf NISMO RC GT300. That's what I'd like to see, a JAF GT300 Leaf. But we've had votes on the chats for the Nissan Cube in GT300 spec. That would be absolutely brilliant to see. I think the wheelbase might be a little bit too short. Now the Epson car is finally getting beaten up by the Zensurumo. And talking of electric cars, I was reminded the point of me talking about electric cars. Of course, the Formula E Championship gets underway in Saudi Arabia, I believe, on the 15th of December.
In Riyadh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be the first, I think it's the first single-seater race for Nissan since the World Series by Renault wasn't called that.
Yeah, World Series by Nissan back in 2006.
Yes, and then
won by Robert Kubica.
And then there was the Open Fortuna Nissan Series, won by somebody called Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, it was called Opel or something.
No, Open Fortuna by Nissan. There was a Nissan Open Fortuna Series. RJ Connell's probably correcting me on this right now.
You see the 5th and 6th place cars in GT500, the Epson's NSX 64 and the 38 Zensurumo. This is still battling.
This is the battle that started on lap 1. They've both had pit stops. There's now 2 different drivers in these cars, and they're still battling. But also the battle on track. We still haven't seen pit stops for the championship contenders. Lap 30 completed.
Oh, here we are.
So Raybrigg blinks first. We've got to look at the top of the screen. What will the championship rival do? Will Cassidy come in to hand over his Toyota right now?
To me, it doesn't make any sense for the keeper Toms to actually pit right away.
Well, they've obviously run out of rubber on that car, and the keeper Tom's car is in at the same time. They're both in. Well, look at that. You couldn't script this, could you? I knew they were watching each other. As soon as one pit crew came out, the other one dived in. Now, who's going to get out in front? It looks like all 4 tyres for both cars.
No, I think it's just front.
No, I can see the rears.
Yes.
The track commentators getting excited. Don't worry about the smoke coming from the front wheels. That's fairly normal. They are very hot brakes on the LT500. Cleans out the brake ducts. The 100 car's ready to go, as is the Tom's car, and well, not quite enough, but the gap's come right down, I reckon.
Yeah, it's actually lost quite a few seconds.
Yeah, he's gained just under a second in that pit stop.
But I wonder if he lost a few seconds in those final laps.
I wonder too.
Which prompted Yamamoto to pit. Although it's going to take a lap or 2 for both of them to get up to speed.
I make that 8.5 seconds. Yeah, he's just filtered back in. That Wed Sport Lexus isn't going to cause any problems whatsoever for the Tom's car. And if he goes in front of him, it'll be like, I can have that position back when I've got up to speed anyway. I've got tyre temperature in.
Going back to the pit stops, I'm not entirely sure it makes sense for the Keeper Tom's team to actually follow the exact same strategy as the Raybrigg cars, because it's just kind of maintained a bit of a status quo to a degree. I think maybe once they realised the Raybriggs are probably going long, you should have probably pitted early and got
I think
Hirakawa on fresh tyres.
But I think they were trying to go long, and they stopped, and then the Honda saw them coming in, and they both reacted. I mean, I think it was a battle of who's reacting to who, and that is a real challenge. Well, here we go. It's the battle between the Zensurumo trying to go around the outside of the Dunlop-shod Epson NSX.
I think he's done it. He's done it. Well done.
That
Fantastic.
is relief.
And that's an excellent. That's a very, very good move as well. As Ashiro finally makes the move.
Now I really want to see. Oh, now the Raybrigg's going to have the run on the Epson car now, and that's going to be like candy from a baby. Yep, easy peasy. Well, right now it's looking like Jenson Button and Naoki Yamamoto are driving to victory in the 2018 Super GT season. This is the finale. 250 kilometres of twin ring Motegi here on NISMO TV. There's the race leader, the Arta NSX. First early, early to pit stop, but look at the gap to back to third position because the Zenit Tsurumo car's there.
It's just got a...
Yes, the Zenit Tsurumo car has got up to second position on those pit stops, which I hadn't spotted. And, well, that Raybury...
of course, yeah, because they passed the Epson car.
The Wedsport 86, the Wedsport LT500 is really annoying Kunimoto. There's Hirakawa in the Keeper Tom's car. I don't know what Wedsport are up to. Why are they holding up the Keeper Tom's car? That shouldn't be happening. There will be screaming messages from the TRD crew.
This really hasn't worked out for
No.
Keeper Tom's team at all. In fact, they're looking as if they'll probably drop to third place in the championship if it stays like this. They'll be jumped by Nojira and Etzawa.
And that would make a Honda 1-2 in the championship. Who would have thought that a couple of years ago where we saw all of the Hondas break down on lap 1?
Oh, yes. At Aida, or Okayama. Or the same place.
I think it is called Aida because of the opera.
Really?
Yeah. No, genuine, I think it is.
Jules, our producers, is less convinced.
No, genuine, it's the truth. I'm telling you. Look it up. It's on Racing Circuits Info, probably.
Yeah, but you write that.
No, I haven't written it for a while. I probably should write it because the people involved in it get a bit annoyed when I don't, but no, I haven't. The Keeper Tom's car has got past the Wedsport, and look at the gap being opened up. But will the delay caused by the Wedsport LC500 on the Keeper Tom's, the almost identical Keeper Tom's car, be crucial at the end of this race? It's hard to say. The AU Tom's car, well, we know that's not going to cause a problem for the Keeper Tom's car, nor should the Team Le Mans Wacos car, but then there is the Epson NSX, which will be a problem.
The problem is that only gets Hirakawa to fifth place at this stage, and as we see Button following Ishura in the...
Yeah, but Jensen Button's got to be really careful here because that's, look, you can see it right now. The Zenit Tsurumo car is driving extremely defensively.
This is going to be a battle.
And he's not letting it, he's not making any space for Button to get past.
But Button is letting rip as well. He's actually driving quite aggressively.
But that's not the thing to do. He's in the championship winning position at the moment against a car that is essentially hostile.
And still quite a gap over the Keeper Tom's car.
A little bit of a gap, but if the Zenit Tsurumo car just drives a bit wide and goes offline, that's nearly contact. Button needs to keep it clean here. A little bit of damage, and that Keeper Tom's car will be right on the tail of them. Look how close that is. They were almost rubbing down that back straight. Button's trying to get the toe into the corner, and the Zenit Tsurumo car is still driving super wide. This
really
is
defensive
proper.
driving. Really defensive driving. And all is fair in love and war.
And this is where Barfi would be saying you need to record this and show it to young Carters. But now Button's wondering what to do. He's got the toe down this longer straight into turn 1. He's going to pull out of the draft, trying to get a run, but he can't. Whoa! Slamming the door. I mean, that was.
But is he going to get the inside here? Not quite.
Not quite. He hasn't got the drive out of the corner. And Ishura is clearly, TRD has got on the radio saying, whatever you do, do not let that blue Honda past. And look, the cars behind are beginning to close up. This is costing the Raybrig NSX a huge amount of time. Now, can Jensen Button do this? Can he get past? And you could just see Ishura looking in his rear view mirror. They do have digital screens on the dashboard as well on these GT500 car, but he was just having a good look to see where Button was.
Old school.
Yeah. He's just like, I know where you are, lad. You're not coming past. It's what Murray Walker would have used to call the Maginot line policy. They shall not pass. And then Button will just find just an alternative way through the Ardennes. But look at the way he's moving around behind that GT300 Subaru. Just making that Zen unpredictable. This is how you do defensive driving. Now, will Button get it done here? No, because the line, he's going to try and go around the outside. That's not going to work, because look at the Subaru making all that gain. Will he get a better drive out of the corner? Still not good enough. This is sensational battling.
But Ashura is placing his car perfectly, making only minor moves, just holding... Just as you said, a very wide position.
Someone please show this to Max Verstappen.
But this is how you do it. You don't slam across the track. You don't change your line so massively.
Yeah.
Immediately, he's just placing his car just right,
And it's clearly, the button is clearly faster than the Zenza Rumo car. Oh, why are we cutting away from this?
I think it's Keeper Tom's going to make a move in the Wacos.
Yeah, but that's another Lexus. The Wacos is just going to jump out of the way. Then you get the real battle with the Epson. We need to see what's going on with Button and the Zenza Rumo car. There they are. Still, I mean, this has got shunt written all over it.
And you see the smoke coming from the brakes, the front brakes of the Zenza Rumo car as well.
Oh, and Button nearly threw it off there. He was just on the... He lost the rear
pushing.
end.
But he doesn't need to do that because they have a 6 to 7 second
No, they don't
gap.
because it's coming down. Look, because the Zenza Rumo car, this battling is holding it up. Now, the Keeper Tom's car is saying to the Wacos, get out of the way!
Hirakawa trying to get by Oshima.
Now, where's the big GT300 pack in this battle? Because that's going to change everything.
I think it's going to be coming up soon.
That's the stricken Lamborghini. Oh, finally, the Prius stops. Final ever pit stop for that car in Super GT.
Pitting from the lead in GT300.
Where will it come out? Will they be able to take the final victory? And what will that mean for the championship points? They are in contention. Obviously, the Prius hybrid system interfering with the broadcast equipment, because as soon as we cut back to track, it's fine. There he goes. I'm going to miss that car. I'll tweet some pictures of what it looks like under the skin later today if I don't have the hard drives with me, but I'll tweet them during... Well, hopefully after the... I've got to take the Nismo Jet from the bunker to Hitchin in England to watch Hitchin Town FC in the... FA Cup final, that'd be lovely. FA Cup first round, first time for 23 years that team's done it. But yeah, FA Cup final at Top Field, that'd be incredible. But no, I'm looking forward to that. By
Jet, do you mean your 1989 Nissan Micra?
No, it was this Micra Super S from 1993. I don't have that anymore. I'd like a new Micra Nismo though.
I thought you'd like a Cube.
I'd like a Cube Nismo S. If that was a thing, that would be brilliant. If you wonder why we talk about the Nissan cars that we'd like to own, it's because we know certain people from Nissan HQ are listening to this commentary, and we're trying to remind them that we want to buy certain cars. And there's one I particularly want to buy, and I say, hey, Tom's car, getting a little bit wide onto that little grass.
Really almost lost the back end there, actually.
A little AstroTurfy bit. Now, the Wacos car really is holding up that Keeper Tom's...
I can't understand why.
Well, Team Le Mans, as I said, there are rumours about the future of that team, and has the relationship between Team Le Mans and TRD, Toyota Racing Development, cooled to the point where they're no longer obeying the strategy? No, he's jumped out of the way now. Now we've got a reverse of the battle that's still going on somewhere up the track between Jensen Button and the Zenza Rumo car. We've now got the
the Wacos car is fighting back
at him.
As Walkinshaw comes in...
Walkinshaw gets in.
Sorry, Takagi comes in, Walkinshaw in.
Has he got Belgian flag on the top of his helmet? I just glimpsed that. I'm going to watch that on the replay. Yeah, he sort of does have a German or Belgian flag on top of his helmet. We'll have to ask Sean Walkinshaw why he's got that on his helmet, or RJ O'Connor will tell us the answer very quickly. Well, looking at the battle, the Wacos car didn't get that move done. There are the Nissans. We haven't talked enough about those. Daiki Sasaki still chasing down Sugio Matsuda. I'd expected them to move up through the field here a lot more. And
it's been a very static race, I think, for the Nissan GT-Rs.
Well, it has. I think there's been so much focus on this battle. The Prius is in second position, but only by 2 seconds.
And the Walkinshaw comes out in sixth place. As we see the Keeper Tom's going by down the inside of the Epsom and makes it fantastic door-to-door action there.
Well, that's someone needs to record that, email the video to Jensen Button and play it on the in-car screen to say, this is how you overtake at Motegi, Jensen. Up to 4th position now in front of the Keeper Tom's LC 500.
That had to be absolutely needed to make that move. The gap now is 6th place, 6 seconds to 3rd place. As we see Walkinshaw getting past.
And nearly getting hit by the number 3 Nissan GT-R GT500. He got loose there, and Yamauchi in the Subaru is going to get that move done. There's a GT500 car just behind them. The Subaru's going to have to jump out of the way at some point, and they're banging, and they've touched. There's damage on the BMW. And the Subaru's got damage. They're banging doors all the way down. There's certain moral hazard. His wing mirror's gone.
Do not want to take too many risks, does Walkinshaw, because that could be a championship losing position if it gets too much damage.
If he gets a stop-go penalty at this point, he could be out of the point. So you're in 7th position. You need the points. Well. And he's not giving up. He's got the red, or is it orange, mist.
But that was a risk he did not need to take. At this stage, all Walkinshaw needs to do is bring it home, and that title will probably be theirs.
Well, you've got to hit the like button on that.
And as we've seen, Oshiro leading in the Arta NSX, and they've led pretty much the entire distance beyond the pit stops.
I think everybody's forgotten they're in the race, really. Mr. Orange Jacket obviously hasn't, but I mean, his cars, he's watching the GT300 battle more than the GT500. And there's the Zensarumo car.
So
but look at the gap. He's gapped. He's gapped. Button's there, a little way back, but he's been gapped. Look at the gap. It's come right out.
So I wonder if Button has been told to cool it, that he doesn't need to actually fight so hard.
No, we need to see the gap, though, between Button and the Keeper Toms. Now, the Keeper Toms car isn't really in sight at the top of the screen, so there's a bit of gap.
It's about 6 seconds, I think, from between 3rd and 4th.
We're seeing the wrong graphic. We don't really care about the gap between the Zensarumo and the
6.4 seconds.
6.4 seconds, as you see. By doing some mental arithmetic, I'm quite impressed by that you did that so quickly.
I did well at school, though, you know.
They have schools in Ireland?
Yeah. Well, we got boxes at least. Anyway. But looking at the Button's times, on lap 36, he dropped 2 seconds or a second and a half there on that one lap. So maybe did he get caught out in traffic then, probably?
Yeah, the GT300 pack isn't really bunched up at the moment, and that's allowing the 500s to not really suffer that, as we saw earlier in the race, where they all bunch up and then suddenly lose and gain loads of time. But it does look, here you go, here's the gap, 6.6675.
Because in the number 100 car, the number 1 Keeper Tom's car.
Did he get that Prius at the wrong place? No, that gap is definitely coming down.
Hirakawa is setting times in the 1:40s, Buttons in the 1:41s, 1:42s. Now that Hirakawa is actually in free air, he's actually upped the pace significantly, and he needs to, because there's only 14 laps left.
Those are some natty sunglasses.
I think Nick's been following Lewis Hamilton a little bit too much.
3/4 race distance here at Twin Ring Motegi. You're watching the showdown near Utsunomiya.
The gap's 4.7 seconds now.
And there's that GT300 pack. You're going to see that come down. If Button catches them at the wrong time, he nearly lost it under braking trying to pass the GT3 Lexus there. You are 3/4 race distance. You are watching the Super GT finale here on NISMO TV. Stay tuned to work out who's going to win the titles in both the GT500 Championship and the GT300 Championship. Jenson Button leads at the moment, but it's not done because of this car right here. The number 1 car, the reigning champions, the Keeper Toms LC500 is hunting down Button, but the back markers in GT300 haven't necessarily seen him coming.
Tin almost risked going down the inside of the Hoppy 86 car and pulled out of it at the last moment. The gap's 3.9 seconds. I thought it might extend again to 4.8 or 5, because I think Hirakawa lost a bit of time in that chicane.
There's Bumblebee, one of the cars we'll be seeing at Nismo Festival in a few weeks' time here on Nismo TV in the Nismo Grand Prix. That car will be great to see out on track.
But I do think Hirakawa's made a much better job of the traffic than Button did. Button back in clean air now for the moment, but Hirakawa's there's only 1 car in between them.
Yeah, that gap looks to me, well, you can see it on your screen now. The gap has come down, and if it keeps going like that, 13 laps to go, well, if it goes down at that rate, Button's going to have a big problem at the end of this race in the shape of a Lexus LC500 built on a carbon fibre monocoque with a 2-litre turbocharged engine producing about 700 brake horsepower.
I think Button's gone, it's just got past the Mercedes now, and there's a Lamborghini just ahead. This is going to be to and fro for the remaining laps. Not just this race, but the remaining laps of the season.
Yeah. It's going to be... It's a shame. I just want to... The talk of a night race at Sepang has really got me interested. Here's what the championship standings look like in GT300, and that's crucial. Walkinshaw is not up in position.
The race leading number.
There it is, the Leon car.
And that actually explains a little bit more why Walkinshaw was really desperately going for the position. They know that they actually need another couple of positions to actually retake the championship lead. After considering a 12-point gap coming into this race, it would be astonishing if the number 55 Arda M6 end up losing it.
I know. I mean, that's what he was talking about. But there's no looking back there for Walkinshaw, mainly because he hasn't got a rear view mirror on one side. Hanging off the car, but it doesn't matter, that'll fly off at some point or just dangle off. But he needs to make some positions to get back in the championship fight, because right now the Leon Mercedes is not being challenged. But where's that Prius? Could the Prius change everything? Hatsune Miku's out there as well. No Mercedes brand partnership on that one. Miku will be out there to win it for herself. And Nob Taniguchi at the wheel of that car. There is no one better. And as Nightmare says, no, it wasn't, as Rifi Aditya says on the chat, this series is rather good. If you like
very roundabout way of saying it, but
if
yes.
you like it, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Ace9942 says, how many drivers in this race have won the World Drivers' Championship other than Jenson Button? None. There's no WEC winners.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there's any WEC winners, but there isn't, is there?
Well, there's a probable... no, it's Nakajima won the WEC.
I can't remember.
Nor can I. RJ. Paging RJ O'Connell from Super GT World.
And of course there's no World Touring Car Championship winners in this either, so...
Nope. There are various ex-Formula 1 drivers in the series, from Yuji Ide to... see...
Heikki Kovalainen,
Jenson Button. Has Nick Cassidy won the World Midget F2 Championship? No.
I don't
Maybe
think so.
One track in New Zealand. That gap is distinctly coming down. As
it's 2.8 seconds.
Yeah,
now.
this is...
I think Hirakawa is definitely far more aggressive in traffic than Button. I'm not entirely sure if that's Hirakawa being aggressive and needing to go for it, or Button being maybe a little bit cautious because he doesn't want to damage the car and end up losing it that way, or maybe even a mixture of both. But Hirakawa is definitely pulling the gap in, with just 11 laps remaining now.
You're watching Super GT, the great final on NISMO TV, live from Twin Ring Motegi. Jenson Button and Naoki Yamamoto lead the Drivers' Championship as things stand at the moment, but in second in the championship and hunting them down relentlessly, not second in the race, is the number one car, the keeper Tom's Lexus LC500 in GT300. The cars you're watching now, the number 31 Toyota Prius in its final race, out to prove a point to win on its swan song. Hatsune Miku trying to spoil that, but if either of these cars manage to get in front of the class leader, the Leon AMG Mercedes, that will hand victory in the championship, I believe, to the number 55 BMW.
And of course, Walkinshaw's lost the position in the 55 Arctic BMW. He's down to 7th place. But not only that, in the last few laps, has lost 6 seconds.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Something's not quite right there. And it's interesting, they had the Arta M6 on screen a few moments ago, and under braking, it doesn't look quite stable at the moment. The front end of the car is actually moving about under braking. And I wonder maybe if there's something with the tyres, there's something's out of balance in that car now. But they're losing several seconds since their pit stop.
Well, it's going to be interesting, because if these cars we're seeing on the screen right now, this pair of cars, can make it up to the lead of that class and catch that Leon Mercedes, it would put a good smile on the face of... Yes, there's 1.7 for the battle, we can see that. It would put a good smile on the face of Sean Walkinshaw. Hatsune Miku is good at that. But look at this. This is what we're looking at now. This I don't know. I don't think there is I think there is some sort of problem with Button's car. Look at the lap times,
as I said earlier on, Button was in the 1 minute 41s and early 1 minute 42s. Now that's actually dropping to the late 142s.
Yeah, and that gap's coming screaming down now.
And Hirakawa is in the steady mid 141s.
I'd like to see one of those cuts to the garage and see Nick Cassidy's sunglassed face right now.
He's too cool. He's far, far, far too cool.
No. No, he's not. He'll be bounding around that back of the garage.
But actually, it's going back to something you mentioned earlier on in the race, Sam, about the number 55 R to BMW. You mentioned, there he is. See,
He doesn't look cool, does he?
No.
He's worrying about the champagne at the end of the race. He's got to get it right.
But you mentioned earlier on, before Walkinshaw got in the car, how he looked pensive, he looked nervous, how he was shaking his leg, and that's not the best attitude or best thought.
And I think, and we saw that quite aggressive drive. There's damage on the car, and I think that might be a bit of a result. But I mean, how do you deal with a championship fight? I mean, very few people have been in this situation. I mean, Jenson Button's only been in this situation twice before. Formula Ford and Formula One. Those are the only times he was a real championship contender. Well, right now, this is his third time as championship contender, and he is being relentlessly hunted down by that keeper Tom's Lexus.
This is critical. This is critical for the entire season. It is level on points in GT500 between these two cars at the moment. Will it be Yamamoto and Button, or will it be Hirakawa and Cassidy for the title?
There are no points permutations you need to worry about in this battle for the championship. Whichever one of these two cars on your screen right now finishes in front, wins the championship. This is a battle for the Super GT 2018 championship being played out here live on NISMO TV. And there's some people walking on a banking. But, now this is crucial. The ARTA M6 of Sean Walkinshaw is under serious pressure now from the D station Porsche. That's the guy who's fighting for the championship in GT300.
One of them, it's something definitely up with the ARTA M6 and with Walkinshaw in the car. He's losing too much time.
Well, if you're liking this, because I am, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We want to bring you a lot more Super GT action next year. Make sure we need to get up to 100 likes for that to happen. So make sure 100,000 likes for that to happen. So you have to hit the like button or smash that button, which you might see a Lexus do imminently.
And of course,
Jason Lefebvre has suggested it might be the tyre evolution on the Honda coming and going, and you do get this ebb and flow of tyre performance. He could have dropped out of the tyre window. That is certainly possible. We've seen it on some of the other cars. We saw it on Jan Mardenborough's car in a couple of races where it just lost pace for a few laps because that's just the performance line of the tyre.
And also what we don't know is whether they're still on the same compounds as they were at the in the first stint.
I'm certain they're not because they've stopped so late. They'll be on a softer compound now. 1.3 seconds separates these two. No nonsense like DRS here, it's just pure racing. Both these cars with 2-litre turbocharged engines, different monocoque chassis. The Honda has a slightly less stiff chassis than the Lexus behind it.
Now, there's traffic just ahead of Button. This could be critical because the gap is 1 second. Bear in mind, less than 10 laps ago, this gap was 6.7 seconds.
Got brake problems? Because look at the...
Walkinshaw loses the position.
And possibly the championship.
Now, I think he's already out of the championship because the 65 Leon car would have jumped him, but this is putting him further behind now.
The only thing that can save the ARTA M6's title is the Prius and the Hatsune Miku, and I think they're too far behind the Mercedes with 9 laps to go here at Motegi.
The overall race leader going through to lap both of them. And here we see second, third place. Button putting a lap on one of the Mercedes.
That's unfortunate for the second position in the championship, 4th position in the race car. Lost a little bit of time because he caught that Lexus at the long first corner and that slowed him down a little. But look at the gap, 0.8 of a second. We are going to have a wheel-to-wheel battle, 8 laps to go to decide the 2018 Super GT Championship. Jenson Button's first full season in this series, and what a wake-up call he's been getting.
Hirakawa only lost 0.2 of a second in that hold-up in turn 1, so not a massive loss. See, Very, very tense garage. And Nick Cassidy there. Jules, our producer, is so thrilled by this championship battle. He's actually just fist pumped to the air.
I think he was just looking at the Lexus just got held up by Mintzilla there. That was a bit of a gap. So Mintzilla it's where you catch this traffic is going to make a massive difference. He lost 4/10 of a second on that, but here comes the big traffic. And it's going to be quite interesting to see how this goes. Will the 2009 world champion be able to hold off this Lexus surge?
This is big traffic, actually, for Button. I think he's got the Arta M6, the Walkinshaw car just ahead, and gets almost really bogged down behind Walkinshaw through the hairpin, through the chicane, and just about gets through. This is very, very, very tense stuff. Both the Raybury car and the Keeper LC500 both getting caught in traffic there.
But it's where you're going to pick this traffic. 7 to go. The D-station Porsche. Ooh, D-station Porsche looked like he almost outbraked himself there. And again, that long first corner caught traffic at the wrong point for the Lexus.
I think didn't lose quite as much time there on this occasion because Hirakawa was quite a bit further behind the D-station, but the gap holding at 1 second between 3rd and 4th place. These are the leaders in the GT500 Championship.
The real shame in this is actually that both cars, one of these cars is going to be on the podium, the other one's not. I really want to hear from both of the English-speaking drivers in these cars.
Well, I do hope that they're both invited to interview after this race.
Yeah, because this is quite a big showdown. But if you've not watched Super GT before, you'll realise that we have no understanding of what goes on the podium or what's going to happen post-race. It's just a little bit random. But right now, it's the battle. And I think, is that Lexus beginning to lose a little bit of pace? Has he fallen out of that tyre window, I wonder?
I think Hirakawa was probably pushed so hard in those initial laps after the pit stop. Maybe it's just coming to the point where the wear is overtaking the freshness of the tyres, as it were.
Look at that, though.
Yeah, I think with the Mercedes leading the GT300, Walkinshaw at the moment is too far behind. But not just in terms of position. Walkinshaw's 8th place at the moment, and I think he's lost a few seconds to D-Station Porsche since they were overtaken. Walkinshaw's lost a lot of time.
One man will be particularly gutted if the race ends this way. Will be Nick Cassidy, who lost just a couple of weeks ago. Didn't get a very good drive off the corner there. Who lost the Super Formula Championship.
Needs to get past Mercedes.
And again catching traffic in the wrong corner.
Button seems to be playing this very, very well, actually.
He seems to be getting the traffic in the right places around the lap. I don't know if it's luck or talent, but he's obviously got talent. But, well, you know, he's won the Formula Ford Championship and the Formula Ford Festival, which is not easy.
Yeah, no.
And there was that Formula 1 thing he did as well. That was pretty good.
To go past the Subaru. I think Button's just met.
Oh,
the 64 Epson spins.
Oh, don't drive back on the track at the Apex. Oh dear.
Oh no, actually just about, and actually not even a spin, but hit by the AU, the 36 LC500, and the Wedsport car gets blocked, and
nearly took out the blue car and the red car.
Yeah, nearly. But then to actually drive out in front of oncoming traffic as well is probably not the cleverest thing.
Now look at this though, the Raybury car is being held up by that Lamborghini, and right behind the Gaynor Tanax GT-R GT3 car is that Lexus. The traffic has brought this battle back together, but again, in the long right-hand corners, I don't know what it is, the long right-hand corners seem to be catching out that Lexus.
Again, that's intelligence on Button's part as well, making kind of placing the car where he does.
He does seem to be just. You do get to a point where you've got to say, it can't just be luck that you always catch the traffic at the right point. Are you sort of? But no, he hasn't caught this at the right point. The Prius has got in his way, and look, right in the toe of Jensen Button is the Keeper Tom's LC500. Not quite enough to get the run done, but they're much closer now.
Half a second, Sam. Half a second. That is the gap with 5 laps to go.
And this is for the championship. This is for the Super GT 2018 Series victory. We're not going to talk very much about the GT300 class right now. The Leon Mercedes is leading that points race by some margin because they were a long way ahead in the track, but this is what it's about, the GT500 battle.
For a moment I thought the Lamborghini was going to pull right across the circuit.
That's the car guy Honda. And look how close they are. This is great racing.
This is so very, very, very close in these final few miles. Button, third place, Hirakawa fourth. But fighting for the top 2 positions in this championship.
Don't forget to hit that like button. Five to go, and I can't tell you the result. But if we get over 1,000 likes, I'll tell you who wins the race.
If we get 2,000 likes, Sam gets roast dinner this evening.
Ooh, big cooked food. This would, RJ O'Connell's just pointed out, this would be Haruki Kurosawa's first title in 15 seasons. That's the way this race ends. Oh, there is the Leon Mercedes. There are the 2 current points leaders together.
Oh, and Button's got caught very, very badly there. And now Hirakawa's right on his tail as they come down the start-finish straight, but he gets a good run out of the final corner.
Well, he was lucky that the Leon saw him, but look, just up the road, there's some more traffic.
The gap is almost nothing. And again, huge amounts of tires, of brake smoke coming out of the front of that Ray Brigg NSX.
Oh, look at the traffic, though. That's the Prius. That's very hard to pass. And there's right across the road, Buttons flashing his lights like crazy. This is going to be, they are absolutely together. 4 to go for the Super GT Championship of 2018.
Hirakawa looking down the inside, couldn't quite make it there as they come past the Mercedes.
The road is full of GT300 cars. I was wondering where they'd got to. The Team Matt car, has he seen the Lexus coming? No, he hasn't. He shut the door on him. Loses 1 car length. The Lexus gets up the inside, but the Bentley hasn't seen Jenson Button coming.
This is astonishing stuff. And the Bentley gets in the way of Hirakawa as
I think
well.
that's Yuji Ide not paying attention. Well, we've seen that before in other championships. At least this time, nobody ended up on their roof.
I think that was just Ide, but
either way.
So Button third place, Hirakawa fourth place. The gap you can see on screen.
This is absolutely... The flags are waving. Can't tell you who for. Well, this is the battle for the race lead, which we've completely ignored. And we're still ignoring.
The number 8, Arta NSX, actually lost 4 seconds in the last couple of laps.
Yep.
And then not far behind them, you have the Ray Brigg and the Keeper Tom's number 1 car. Just 3 laps to go at the end of this.
Well, there is a great battle for the lead, but it's been completely ignored because Bumblebee's now got in the way of Jenson Button. The Zensarumo car's trying to get the race lead away, so Lexus at least is going to win something today, but is it going to be Honda winning the championship? Is it going to be Lexus winning the race? Who knows?
And in GT300, we've just noticed the Sean Walkinshaw's dropped down to 9th place.
Well, he's out of the championship now. So, well, as we came into this race, nothing predictable has happened. And what a way. 3 laps to go of twin ring Motegi.
There's no real traffic directly in front of them for a short while yet. So this is going to be a battle now between Button and Hirakawa.
From Autopolis to Okayama, this has been a fantastic season. And we're ending it in Motegi. And, well, this is going to be really interesting because the tyre performance of both these cars, I mean, the mid-engined Honda there in front, the dark blue car, the Red Bull livery car is a front-engined car, both 2-litre turbocharged. Tyre war tyres, which means there is degradation. They are going to be keeping their tyres alive and right at the end of what's possible. And you can see that brake dust coming off if the sun gets low over the back straight here at Motegi.
Very much on the Ray Brigg 100 car, not as much in the Keeper LC 500.
And if you like this sensational championship finale, please do hit that like button because it's just brilliant.
It's just so tense at the moment. The gap is, as you can see, only a couple of tenths of a second, but there's only 2.5 laps left. Less than 2.5 laps.
2 to go there. It's come across the finish line. That's the battle for the lead. Again, largely being ignored because this is the battle that everybody now cares about, unless you're in one of those first 2 cars.
2 to go.
Can Jenson Button win his first title since 2009? At the moment, it looks possible.
I just wondered, in clearer air, Button seems a little bit stronger. Hirakawa is much stronger when it comes into traffic, but I think when they're actually not in traffic, Button has a little bit of an advantage in the drive.
And it depends how much of this GT300 traffic they're going to catch, how much of it is just up the road. As this camera turns around, we'll see what is disappearing off up the track. Looks pretty clear, just one Audi, I think that was.
Which is 0.8 of a second at the moment.
And we see that the gap, as soon as it gets clear, the gap extends out. Button puts the foot down and goes for it. He'll have everything turned up. There's various engine modes on these cars, and he'll have everything turned up to the absolute maximum and probably slightly beyond. We have seen cars run out of fuel in this series before, though. Button extends the lead slightly, but that Audi's just been caught at the wrong moment.
But there's enough of a gap just ahead of Button to ensure that.
Yeah, I mean the Lexus has really dropped back now quite a bit.
I think in clean air, Button is having a much better time in the Honda NSX.
I think the Lexus. I think the tyres have gone on the Lexus. Look at the gap now.
It's now 1.5 seconds. I think it's probably just gone a little bit too far. As we look to the front of the field.
There's the Toyota Mark X, way down the field as usual. The Zensarumo car, but yeah, that gap is the biggest we've seen it for a few laps, 1.4 as you said.
It's the last lap,
really.
1.5 now. Last lap of the race, entering the final lap of the season. Jenson Button, third place in a Raybrick Honda NSX. And it's looking very likely this will be his first title since the 2009 Formula 1 World Championship. And it looks as if Nick Cassidy's going to lose out to Yamamoto once again.
Oh, that would be heartbreak for him. Well, there's the championship leader in GT300 flashing his lights. I think he knows he's done enough to win this one. Yeah, he's celebrating already. You should never celebrate before you finish the race.
The Toyota Prius is actually close right up to him.
Yeah.
The gap is only 6 points or so if it stays like this, and if he loses the win, they lose 5 points.
Yeah,
so
it could be pretty close. I'm not sure who was on pole in that class who got the 1 point
that
for
was
that.
the Manipa Lamborghini.
Oh, that's irrelevant then. Well, here we go. Just the last few corners for the 2018 Super GT season. The series started out much earlier in the year, and it's visited a whole load of circuits. Okayama, Autopolis, Fuji Speedway twice, Suzuka, Sportsland Sugo. You can watch all of those races here on NISMO TV. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. But it's all come down to this. Just a few tens of meters around Twin Ring Motegi. There's our race winner. It's the Arta Autobacks Honda NSX taking victory ahead of the Zensarumo car. But look at the top of your screen. There he is. Jenson Button brings home the number 100 Honda NSX, sponsored by Raybrick, to win the 2018 Super GT Championship, just ahead of his title rival.
How much he's celebrated in the car. Jenson knows it.
That means a lot. The double championship as well for Naoki Yamamoto. There he is, winning Super Formula and Super GT in the same season. And here is the GT300 points leader, but that Prius is very menacing behind him.
I was almost thinking losing pace for the moment, but the Leon stays out in front.
I think that's number 30 Prius, so that's irrelevant. So there's Leon Mercedes there. Didn't expect to see this, but the Leon Mercedes takes the Super GT Championship in the GT300 category. He's been celebrating all of that lap.
Was absolutely unpredictable, considering the gap at the start of this race.
Tears of joy on the Leon Mercedes pit wall, and I think just tears in the cockpit of the number 55 BMW when that finally crosses the line. Sean Walkinshaw was nervous coming into it. There he is.
And if you think before this race, we were thinking, well, you know, the 55 Arta BMW just needs to bring it home, get in the top 4, top 5, have enough points to take it, and yet they've lost the championship, it seems, by about 4 to 5 points.
Well, there you can say Naoki Yamamoto, and there he is, Jenson Button, the 2018 Super GT champion. It's on your screen, it's confirmed. I don't think we're going to see any moral hazards. From the start of the race, with a car impaled with an aerodynamic part of another one, from difficult times, going off at Suzuka, Button has done it. His first title win since 2009. You've been watching all of these races. You can watch them all on demand, going back a few years, here on NISMO TV. Don't leave us just yet. We're going to be hearing from the new Super GT champions and hearing live and exclusive from Jenson Button here on NISMO TV. We'll bring that to you just as soon as he gets out of the car and wave that one finger in the air and dance around with those big eyes that he does when he wins stuff.
And Yamamoto's second title in just a few weeks.
Yeah, he'll be happy. He'll say that. Now, don't forget to hit like. We've just got up to got a little while longer. Don't forget to like if you want some more of this action next year. I think Super GT is going to be absolutely sensational in 2019. And Fig Banana has just asked, well placed, what am I supposed to do after this Super GT season ends? Well, there you go. I'm pleased you asked, because coming up in just a few weeks' time, on the 2nd of December, is the NISMO Festival. 8 hours of live broadcast from Fuji Speedway, and it is the final Super GT or GT500 race of the season, and every car in it will be a Nissan. It's called the NISMO Grand Prix. It's GT500 versus GT3 versus GT4 and versus some other stuff that's found around Fuji Speedway. It is absolutely sensational. It is a brilliant race, and we'll be bringing it to you live and in full from Fuji Speedway. They've let us out of the NISMO bunker for that one. And, well, it's great to watch this celebrations from Jenson Button. Are we going to see some donuts, or is he? No, he's just looking at his wheels. Donuts would be a moral hazard. He is very, very happy man.
I mean, to be fair, so he should be. He's actually driven a very, very, very good season. There were points in early on the season where we thought he wasn't quite driving as strongly, but it turned out that he was really just making the tyres last, bringing in an awful lot of life from those bridge shots, and you can see how
that's a special stand that they've been made just for this race, because it is a title showdown. Well, arms are going to be in the air. There you go. I wonder if that'll be on the front page of certain British magazines next week, but it won't.
Unlikely.
No. Well, there you go. A British driver wins Super GT. Not the first British driver to do that. Richard Lyons has done it before him. There's a few others as well. But we'll be hearing from Jenson Button, so stay tuned. Well, there's Yamamoto.
Oh my God, that was cold.
It was very amazing, he just said. Oh my God, that was tough. Oh my God, that was tough, was the word of Jenson Button. And then he said something, it was very amazing. There might be a little bit of language in this that may not be Japanese. Here is the GT300 champion, Leon Mercedes.
A little bit.
That's a little bit of an understatement celebration, isn't it? Really, you've just won the championship. Yeah, I know. That's quite chilled out.
I think there will be a bit of a discussion at the ARTA team to find out what happened after this race.
So we're just pausing so we can hear what Button's saying to his team. I wonder how much of what he says they understand.
But that's also great end of season form for the 100 Ray Brake team, because they won at Sportland Sugo some weeks ago.
Yep. Now there you go, there's the GT500 champions. Fingers in the air. Don't forget here to like and subscribe. That's what Jenson's telling you to do with his finger. Smash that like button.
And remember, 3,000 likes, Sam gets a knife and fork to go with his Sunday roast.
I just had to hold on.
He just had to hold on. Well, we'll find out. I mean, Jenson always gives quite a good interview, so we'll find out what he's got to say about the result. And he looks like he's really pushed for that. Surely it's the like Jutton now, it's been told to me. You smash that like Jutton. So here we're going to hear from Jenson Button any moment. Here we go. So will it be Button first or Yamamoto? Double champion Yamamoto with Tinker Mitsu. Well, the boss of Jenson's run away. So it'll be Yamamoto we hear from now. Yamamoto is being congratulated there by the driver of the
まずはスタートドライバーをですね担当しました山本選手からです。山本選手、スタート前緊張の中でトリプルプライスが待ってるかもしれないというお話をさせていただきました。おめでとうございます。
So he's being congratulated for being the double champion.
応援ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. Well, that was a good interview, wasn't it?
スーパーフォーミュラに続いてスーパー GT そしてホンダへのチャンピオンをこちらがもたらしました。
スーパーフォーミュラはね、また別のカテゴリーですし、
talking about having won Super Formula and Super GT.
たくさんいろんな辛いこと苦しいこともあったんですけど、
You don't really need to translate that. He's quite happy.
この中継だけじゃ言い表せないぐらい尺が足りないぐらい感謝の気持ちを述べたいんですけど、限られた時間の中で、一番
It was so close.
伝えな
He
いと
didn't
いけない
expect
こ
it.
とは
It's quite emotional,
や
this
っぱ
one,
り
isn't it?
苦しい中でも頑張っ
Yeah, there you go,
て
he's
開発して応援してくれたホンダの皆さん、そして
There are rumours that this
長かったですけど、
isn't what he's saying, but there are rumours that this may be Honda's last season in Super Formula.
そして
It may
2010
go
年に
to all
僕がス
Toyota
ーパー
engines
GT
next
に
year.
デビュ
Not
ーして
confirmed, it's just a rumour.
無名でルーキーだった僕を起用してくれて、いい時も悪い時も
But look, he is literally crying on camera here.
国光さんとデイブリックにタイトルをもたらすことができて
That means a lot to him,
嬉
doesn't
しい
it?
のと、この勝利に貢献してくれた JB に本当にお礼が言いたいです。ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Yenzo. Well, that's the image that's going to go down at the end of the year, isn't it? With the tear rolling down Yamamoto's face.
子供の話は別に
He's driven very, very, very well this year.
それよりも声に
He
来て
really,
くだ
really
さった
has.
本当ファンの皆さんに本当にお礼が言いたいです。ありがとうございました。
おめでとうございました。Jensen, congratulations. We're talking about just before the start and about the glory. You got the glory.
Oh wow, that was a tough race. They're never easy, and I think that's what makes it extra special. You know, this championship is one of the toughest in the world, and that's coming from someone that's raced in F1 for so many years. But I feel a little bit like a visitor to this team because these guys have been fighting for this for so long. And this guy behind you, Naoki, deserves every accolade that he gets because he's unbelievably quick, aggressive. You know, this guy's got the fever. He's got everything, and I'm so happy for him to get the double this year that he thoroughly deserves. And a big year for Naoki, twins and a double. So a metador to everyone, and I really couldn't be happier. You know, this is a long time coming for me, and the last championship I won was 9 years ago, so that was quite a big one. And this for me at the moment feels just as big. This is so important. So thank you everyone. Thank you Honda for such a great car. Thank you Team Kunimitsu. I mean, I'm so happy for this guy. He's such a legend in the world of motorsport. And
That's right, that's the Japanese legend. The big present to Mr. Kunimitsu.
Exactly. So we have two legends stood behind you right now, and you know, it's so I'm so happy to be a part of this, and thank you so much for all the support as well. So.
最後の分かったと思うんですけども、やはり今回のレースもですね、ものすごいタフなレースであって、その山本選手にとってはですね、スーパーフォーミュラ以降のですね、2つ目のタイトルを取ってるし、チームが長年ですね、戦ってきた素晴らしいチーム、国して戦ってきて、そのですねチームに支えられて今回は素晴らしいレースができて、自分ととってもですね、9年前にですねチャンピオンを取ったF1ですけども、それ以来ですね、長い間チャンピオンが遠ざかったわけですけども。
The competition really was, and so that was a bit of fun. He's realised how high the level is. Both him and Fernando Alonso tested the NSX GT500. Alonso opted not to do Super GT, and Jensen decided to do it.
今日はどうも本当にありがとうございました。
Here's Kunimitsu Takahashi, the boss of the team, obviously.
本当に茂木サーキットにたくさんのお客様、それと全国の車のファンの方々、本当に感謝を申し上げたいと思います。それと同時にこの車をやはり日本の GT 選手権のチャンピオンにしてくれたのは、今年は特に山本バトン選手の力で、これには本当に多くの方々の協力を得て、今日がありました。ということで私本当に久しぶりの
I think actually Jensen's
saying I need to get a taxi.
Jensen's saying he's actually parked his car out in the banking. It's going to be a bit of a while getting out of the circuit.
He said, "Have you seen that NASCAR race?"
方々にも本当にお礼を申し上げたいと思います。それと、ホンダマシン NSX ここにありっていうような感じで、喜んでおります。本当にどうも皆様方ありがとうございます。2人の選手にも大きな拍手をお願いいたします。
ありがとうございました。
おめでとうございました。
And we're not going to show you the podium unless we get 5 likes now. 25 years since Kunimitsu is trying to win that championship for 25 years. RJ Connell. Oh, here's the excitable girl. I hear a rumour that she might not be back next year. She might have moved on to other things. This might be her last race, the excitable girl.
ありがとうございます。本当にもう何も言えないぐらい嬉しいです。はい。
本当ね、蓋を開けてみれば完璧なシーズンだったんじゃないですか。
いや意外とそうでもなくて、
really doesn't look too happy or too faced by this.
Yeah, he just seems like no, I showed up, drove, and came home with an extra trophy.
背中を押してくれてね、自信持っていけって言ってくれて。まあすごくスタッフも別に頑張ってくれた日もあるし、素晴らしいドライバーになって予選もタイムも早かったし、もうすべてが良かったと思います。
本当に改めてチャンピオンおめでとうございます。そしてね、
he's been out for a sort of brisk cycle ride. His teammate, on the other hand, looks absolutely ecstatic at winning the championship.
ハッピーバースデーガモチャンピオン。
はい、ありがとうございます。
Oh, it's his birthday. There you go.
本当ぶっちぎりな完璧なレースでしたね。
本当にチームの方が本当に速い車を用意して、タイヤも本当に素晴らしかった。本当に良かったです。
Which you wouldn't expect
降りてからあんまりこうチャンピオンとはみたいなまだ騒いでないですけど、実感はいつするんでしょうか。
今晩騒ぎたいと思います。
わかりました。改めてね、2018シーズン GT サメクラスチャンピオンおめでとうございました。
As I mentioned a few moments ago, I think there's going to be a bit of a post-mortem at the Arta M6 team after this race.
No, I mean, I think going into this race they didn't expect to go. Well, let's have a look at the race result. There's the provisional route. Arthur NSX GT wins the race by 1.8 seconds ahead of the Zenitsurumo LC500. But of course, everybody's watching is the third position car. The Raybrick NSX, driven by Naoki Yamamoto and Jensen Button, clinching the title ahead of the Keeper Tom's LC500. Wedsport with 5th, Wacos 6th, Motul Ortec GT-R, first of the Nissans in 7th. Really good performance actually from that car. The Denso Cabelco Sard LC500 was 9th, and some other cars finished in the race as well. And the Craft Sports Nissan was 9th, the Forum Engineering Nissan was 10th, 11th was the Calsonic, disappointing result for them. In GT300, the Leon Mercedes obviously won the race and the championship, Kurosawa and Gamu clinching the championship. Toyota Prius finishing 2nd on its swan song race, last race ever for that car. The Good Smile Hatsune Miku was in 3rd position. Legal Frontier Lamborghini 4th, Gainer Tanax GT-R first of the Nissans in 5th, Subaru BRZ ended up the race in 6th position, the D-Station Porsche 7th, the Hoppy 86th 8th, and the Arta BMW down in 9th position and out of the championship contention. There were lots of other GT300 cars and I'm not going to read them all out. This will be here for a while. But next up, the podium. And the podium ceremony will be well worth watching. I wonder what special present Motegi gives you. Would it be a bag of rice? Would it be some wine or a bucket of fish heads?
Bit of rubble from the airport.
I wonder if you get like a special trophy for winning the championship on the podium. Well, there is confirmation of the results. Car 100 wins the title ahead of number 1. There'll be new numbers on those cars next year. Jurien Ozawa in the Honda in 3rd position. Tachikawa 4th. Sekiguchi on his own in 6th, Nakajima just following up that. It's the first of the Nissans in 8th position. It's the Motul Ortec GT-R, Sugo Matsuda and Ronnie Quintarelli. In GT300, Kurosawa Gamu clinched that title just ahead, well, a little way ahead now of Takagi and Walkinshaw in the BMW. Koki Saga and Kohei Hirate missing out on their title shot in the last race for the Prius. North Taniguchi and Kataoka in Hatsune Miku were 4th position. 5th was Hironaka and Yasuda. 6th, Morionita and Nakayama, and lots of other cars down to 1 point for Mr. Kondo at the bottom of the table. They're still looking for the podium. There's the team's championship. Team Kunimitsu wins ahead of Lexus Team Tom's. Super Aguri, Autobacks Racing Aguri in 3rd position. The Zenitsurumo in 4th. Tom's again in a U-Tom's car in 5th. Keihin Real Racing 6th. Lexus Team Wacos Le Mans in 7th, Nismo in 8th, 9th for another Lexus Sard. Team Impul, that's the blue car, in 10th position. In GT300, the Leon team obviously won it, ahead of the Aguri team in 2nd, APR, the Prius in 3rd, Good Smile Racing, Hatsune Miku in 4th, Gainer in 5th, first of the Nissans. And the K-Tunes Racing LM Corsa, D-Station Racing followed that up in 6th and 7th, Shuya Engineering 8th, and the 2 J-Lock cars were 9th and 10th. point scorers scrolling past on your screen now. Stay tuned though for the podium when somebody finally finds it. While we wait for it, last race Q&A. Right, favourite race of the season. We're having questions for it. My favourite race of the season, I think it was this one actually. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I was going to say that as well. Maybe not necessarily for out-and-out action in this race, but it was such a tense race. You really did not know what was actually going to happen next. And we just look at how close it was towards the end of the race. It was a race that had a lot of actual very good driving, a lot of very good action, some tight racing as well, particularly between the Mercedes and the
Mercedes. There were various Mercedes battles, but the battle I really liked was between the battle for the championship.
The Mercedes and the Prius throughout the race, which I thought was actually fantastic. Those last 15 laps between Button and Hirakawa, again, absolutely fantastic.
Why is Yamamoto having a chat with a lady with a comfy cardi there? Second question coming up. Well, you've got to answer these questions on the chat as well while we wait for them to reconstruct the podium. The best driver in a Nissan this season. For me, that's got to be the unluckiest driver in a Nissan this season, and that's Jan Mardenborough. Drove brilliantly. I mean, at the same level as Ronnie Quintarelli and Sugo Matsuda, but just the guy couldn't catch a break. Should have won 2 races, should have been in title contention. I mean, there should have been a Nissan fighting for this championship here, and they just couldn't get any luck.
No, I was actually kind of eyeing towards either Matsuda or Quintarelli as well. And Mardenborough has been driving very, very fast, very, very consistent. And Quintarelli and Matsuda have been there. As you see some highlights from today's race.
Highlight of a pit stop, and highlight of another pit stop. So this is the pit stop between the 2 cars, where the Lexus gained a second on the Honda. We saw this already. It's not the best. Yeah, that's not really the highest highlight of this race, actually.
No.
There's the Prius making its final ever pit stop, going out on them. Drops the base as he rolls out the pit box, goes out on hybrid power, just like the Toyota TS030 and various other Le Mans cars that roll out the pits on hybrid only. And, well, this is a rather random... Yeah, great. We know the Prius lost the lead at that point to the Leon car, and that's how the thing changed. And this was a key moment.
That was a key moment, absolutely key moment. Needed to get past the Epsom NSX car. But that really turned the race. But I think that's one of the things we're going to look at as well. That early laps in that second stint for the Keeper Tom's car, a silly amount of laps stuck behind the Westport car, for example. It should have been released far, far, far earlier.
A nice smooth editing here. The Raybrigg NSX, this is the battle. I want to see a replay of the really close battle between these 2 cars. Well, actually, the battle I wanted to see was between Jenson Button and the Zensarumo car. That was really a fantastic battle. This was a real tense battle, but I think the tyres just went away from Nick Cassidy at the end. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like we're going to hear from him.
I do believe, though, that there was the very big difference between the 2 is you had Button, who just was not as strong, anywhere near as strong as Hirakawa in traffic. But as we saw, once Button got into clean air, I suppose the pluses of the Raybrigg 100 Raybrigg car became obvious.
Best strategy call of the season has just been asked to us. And sorry, I didn't see who asked the question. It's Namefinder. Good name. I think that for me it was the round 1 where Button
and Yamamoto
the tyres. And actually, as we see, ultimately won them the championship.
And as you said earlier on in the race, our initial thought when that strategy was played out was Button's very, very, very slow. They didn't do the tyre change, and they ended up actually coming home second. I believe, if I remember correctly, they actually started that in 7th or 8th place.
It just seemed like they were very slow, but actually got the result. James Guthrie says he really wants me to stay on as commentator on Super GT next year. Well, that's my absolute intention. And don't forget, we're not done yet. We have more Super GT action coming up on the 2nd of December. at NISMO Festival live from Fuji Speedway. But first, the podium. NISMO Festival doesn't have a podium, which is a real shame. It's got buses. It does have buses. Super GT, every Super GT race has buses. If you don't know why we're referring to buses, just go elsewhere, hit like and subscribe here on NISMO TV and just type in buses. And I took a bus ride around. I took a taxi ride and a bus ride around Fuji Speedway to show you just how different things are done in Japan. Well, they've made the podium, and there's the fans.
While you were getting lapped.
Always get lapped in a bus. They're not very fast. It's just a bus.
I'd love to see a bus race in Super G. Right?
I have seen I've seen a school bus.
A bus class in Super GT.
It essentially already is. I've actually seen a school bus race at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Really?
Yeah, it was quite fun. It was on the short track on the front stretch, but yeah, there you go. That was never filmed. Oh, hero music! Must be podium time.
It's quite jaunty, actually, isn't it?
It's like level up. You've completed the game and you've got the really weird. It's like when you complete Gran Turismo or something. You get that weird golden bauble. Mr. Orange Jacket's. He's had an interesting race. He'll be happy. So you can see all the series sponsors. It's going to be interesting to see how things develop for next year. We'll obviously have early in the new year, we'll have the announcement of the NISSan MOtorsports activity. I think that will come in late February. It's not scheduled quite yet, but we'll have all that information here on NISMO TV. Don't forget, Formula E kicks off on December the 15th, but the first proper big public running of that new Nissan Formula E car will come at NISMO Festival live from Fuji Speedway on December the 2nd. More announcements coming, I think, there. But here is the reigning champion team. Jenson Button, Naoki Yamamoto. No, it's not. It's the Leigh on its GT300 first. I was looking at the wrong thing. Here are the reigning champions in GT300.
And new champions. Kurosawa and Gamu.
Exactly.
Well, race winners and championship winners today.
And there they are saying farewell to the mid-engined Toyota Prius. Car 31, Kokisaga,
Kohei Hirata.
Yeah. Where will Hirate be driving next year? A lot of rumours about him. No rumours about double flag man here. Nob Taniguchi with the 2 flag technique. He is very polite, saying thank you, well done to everybody. Very tall is Taniguchi, as you can see. He will be driving for Good Smile next year, and I'm pretty sure they'll have a Mercedes, but completely new livery. Always in a Tasha livery, which means that Vocaloid, that sort of very distinctive Japanese style. It's called a Tasha, or painfully embarrassing livery. They will definitely be running one of those next year, but each year Hatsune Miku comes up with a new design for the car, so we'll see a completely different design for that. And if they run in the Spa 24 Hours again, you'll also see that. Well, here comes the trophy, and like we saw at Sportsland Sugo, it's all base. I mean, it's a proper trophy. That's a decent trophy there.
Looks quite heavy.
Yeah, but I mean, the base is a little bit too big, isn't it? Like, you only need the top bit. And that's what you're saying. That's a big trophy. What are we going to do with that? Yeah, these are very big bottoms. Yeah, I mean, that's a lovely trophy on the top, but why do you whack on that massive bit of sort of fake wood?
I wonder what is it, the logo underneath?
That's the Twin Wing Motegi logo. Which isn't the best logo in the world, which is why they sort of put it on the bottom, I guess. Oh, well. Well, it looks like somebody doesn't want to put his trophy down. Oh. I'm not putting it down. Everybody else has put his trophy down. I'm holding on to my trophy. Oh, here it comes. It's the magic prize. It is a basket of rice, I think. Yep, that is a basket of rice. There you go. Well done. You've won the race. Here, have a basket of rice. That's an awful lot of rice as well. I do wonder how. No, it's quite heavy. You can,
she's struggling.
It's little. The girl was struggling a little bit to carry that amount of rice. There you go. You get on the podium. You get some rice. Now we have to ask.
Let's just win a race and do the food shopping at the same time.
No, we're going to have. In fact, I'm going to ask Jenson Button on Twitter right now what he's going to do with all of that rice. Because we've asked the question before, and we got silly answers from various drivers who've won this basket of rice before. Yeah, and if you haven't watched SuperGT before, yes, they are genuinely winning a basket of rice. The first round was a real eye opener where the winning driver won some golf clubs. So it's from golf clubs to a basket of rice. That is what you get on a SuperGT podium. Here comes Mr. Orange Jacket with his trophy that he gives them.
Everything you need for domestic living.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there is I still don't like the Autobacks trophy because you can't, you know, the one thing, it's like when somebody wins the FA Cup, you pour the bubbly into the trophy and have a swig of it, don't you? You can't do that with that.
It kind of looks like a weapon.
That's a good point. That looks like what was stuck in the front of Button's car at the first race.
Yes.
Well, I don't like those trophies. I like the top bit of the trophy, but not the bottom. Look at those people. Final trophy for that Prius. I have to say, for champions, the GT300 champions really don't look too fussed by it, do they?
No.
Nope, we've got slightly shouty girls. It is rather, they're rather, I don't know, it's just like he does smile, but it doesn't seem to, it's like, hello mum. It's my birthday. So, with all of that rice, I mean, do you reckon they go back and cook it and just keep the basket on the shelf to contract? Because it doesn't really say you just got a big basket of rice. I mean, if you take it back to the workshop and leave it on the shelf, it's going to rot and you get rats and stuff, won't you? You get those little rice mite things that live in it. It's still...
Well, if they don't want it, I'll take it.
Why? Lack of flags from the Prius team. Thought they might have like a special farewell Prius flag, but no, he's just been eaten by a mosquito apparently. They go on a bit here, don't they? I mean, come on. He was just looking at his watch saying, why are we still here? Where's the sparkling circuit?
I think they're covering their watches now because they know they're going to get quite down.
And they don't want to get their rice wet. Well, do you reckon that rice has been taken away so they can give it back to the GT500 guys? They've only got one bag of rice for each step of the podium. Single flag in waistband, good technique. But yeah, look, I mean, these guys are looking a bit left out and a bit bored because they haven't got any flags to play with. Ah, here they go. Here come the girls. We are going to have to get some of this Saki sparkling stuff, aren't we? We're going to have to bring some of this back. We need it at NISMO Festival. In fact, I think at NISMO Festival, the winner of the NISMO Grand Prix is going to get a bottle of this.
Producer Jules agrees.
Yeah.
And then holds up a cup saying extra large in it.
Yeah. Oh, Nob Taniguchi was first away with the champagne spray or the sparkling sake. And there is Gamu. They're still spraying away. It's a very sort of temporary podium, this one, isn't it? They sort of roll it out and start finish straight. It's not like I think Motegi must have a proper podium. I don't know what they use in MotoGP. Well, it's the only other really big race that comes here, I think. Yeah. Oh, one thing we haven't talked about, championships. Nissan completely dominated Super Taikyu.
Oh, of course, yes.
Absolutely dominated Super Taikyu Championship, winning, I think, 6 of 7 races with the GT3 specification.
5 of the 6 rounds.
5 of the 6 rounds.
Including the Fuji 24-hour race in early June.
The Fujitech, big Fujitech race. So I think there's a lot more to come, and that was with, I think, the new specification GT-R GT3. So I think you're going to see quite a lot of performance coming from that car after its first year of competition. It's gone well in the Blancpain Asia series as well in the hands of the KCMG team. That car will be running at NISMO Festival, the KCMG Nissan GT-R GT3 in the GT300 section of that competition. And I think the RJN GT-R GT3 that races in the Blancpain Endurance Series will also be in the NISMO Grand Prix, as will be Bumblebee, Mintzilla, and the 2 Gainatanax cars, and I think I'm forgetting one. Ooh, last question from our producers. What was the highlight of the season? Ooh, that is a tough one for me.
You can go first.
I'm still thinking.
But I'm thinking. And
Yeah.
if both of us think at the same time...
It's been a long season. And I can't. I'm trying to think.
There's lightning outside right now.
I need to go back and watch all of the races on NISMO TV because they are all there, and you can watch them back going back a few years. Meanwhile, I've been saved by a podium, and I will say it is the winners of the GT300. No, I know it's GT500 now. God, they're really dragging this out, aren't they?
My highlight, Sam, is working with you.
Oh, that's lovely. You're still not getting me to buy you a pint. Well, there are the race winners from the Arta Autobacks team. And amazingly, they've got a flag each. No flags from Honda. There's the girls. Not sure why we're looking at them. Trophies hiding behind there. Look. Single flag, no, double flag. Oh, there is a Honda racing flag, and then here's a Lexus flag. It's the Zensurumo guys. I think that battle, I mean, I know we've just watched the race, that battle between Button and I forget which of these two drivers it was.
I think it was...
I can't remember which of the Zensurumo drivers it was that Button was holding up. Button, but there they are, the reigning champions. Well, not the reigning champions, the current champions, the new champions. Jenson Button and Naoki Yamamoto looking understandably very happy. Yamamoto's gone for the single sunglass option, but they also have flags.
It's good to at least have the champions on the podium as well.
Yes, that is always good. Look how much taller Jenson is compared to the rest of it. That's actually a real concern with the driver changes because they have to put little seat inserts in and do it. Okay, here comes the trophies with the oversized bottom. He looks happy, the guy who's presenting the trophy, not quite sure who he is. It's usually some local dignitary. We don't have the caption to tell us. Well, I think this is the first time Jenson's got the rice. When he won the race, what did they get? Did he get the wood earlier in the year? Can't remember what. Little tiny trophy. Oh, you have to share that one. There you go. Waving his flag and holding his very, very small trophy for third place. But you know what? I don't think he cares about that third place trophy. I'm still curious to see if they do get a big special champion trophy. They got the little champion board for the pit stall. Here comes the rice, anyway.
There's the promo girl, probably with a bad back now.
Yeah, she looks like I've carried too much of this rice around.
He loves actually, you know, the guy handing the stuff loves just throwing it above his head.
Yeah. There you go, look at this. That's a lot of rice. It takes two people to lift it. When I was a student, we used to buy rice in the massive bags. It was cheaper. They weren't as big as that. Oh, now Jenson's got rice. Well, hopefully he'll reply and tell us what he's going to do with it. Yeah, he's just said, I've got rice. There you go. I think he knows what we're talking about on NISMO TV here. Oh, that's clever. Look what he's done with the flag. He's impaled the rice with the Honda flag, so he doesn't have to hold the flag. That's extreme advanced flagging, but it could ruin the rice. There's the Autobacks trophy. Mr. Orange Jacket very happy to be presenting it to the people who work for him. Well done. You can take that back to the workshop where we have it anyway. So there you go. Autobacks very happy. It's all very orange. It would make a dangerous weapon, that. Oh, there's a man trying to break through the... Oh, there's two people trying to escape through the pit fence. I'm not sure that's allowed. Look at that. Look at that is very good flagging.
Yes,
and through the trophy handles as well.
Very, very, very ingenious.
Here comes the scratch card. 500,000 yen. Difficult to spend in Motegi because there's not much around there. There's just by the train station, there's a very small little... convenience store. So it's 38,445 Salvadorian colons. Oh no, really? It is.
And that is currency, and it's not what you can get in a local hospital.
Of course, traveling back. Normally, we say you could drink that when you're on the Shinkansen. You know, you buy drinks or a bit of food on the Shinkansen back to Tokyo. But of course, at Motegi, you can't take the Shinkansen because 61,846 Swazi-Lengi will not. But you won't be able to spend very much because there is only this one very small store by the train station. I suspect it will be closed by the time the guys get back to the train station. But if you're lucky and get away from the track swiftly, you can take the steam train back to the Shinkansen station. It takes about an hour and a half, but it's a beautiful train ride. I wonder if that car's now going to go in the Honda collection hall. That is 36,255,695 Uzbekistani soms, in case you're wondering. But a lot of rumours about the front-engined Honda. It was scheduled to test here in a couple of weeks. That test has apparently been cancelled because
cancelled or moved.
Well, I think they realised that we'd found out about it when we talked about it on NISMO TV, and Honda didn't like that very much. But who cares? With a scratch card there, 500,000 yen going to the best performers, and I think you can't really argue with that award.
No, I think
though I would argue the Zensurumo team did put in a brilliant piece of defensive driving, but that was a very good race from the Raybrick team.
And I think is both Jensen and Yamamoto did what they had to do. And especially in those last laps with Hirakawa just behind.
Yeah.
That was, as I said earlier on, a very, very, very tense battle.
Well, I mean, when they
you could see the experience in Button there as well. You know, that's where maybe lesser drivers or younger drivers possibly would have capitulated.
Yeah.
Button held his nerve and made sure there was at least half a second gap.
That guy just walking towards the camera there had a really cool jacket, one of those Motor Tech. Some nice merchandise available for Super GT fans. We usually try and have a couple of competitions on NISMO TV through the year. I'm not sure what the plan is, but I'm certain we'll have some nice competitions. Oh, we've just been reminded that we didn't. We had a think and didn't think of what a highlight of the season was.
Yeah, strange that.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, look, they've unplugged the flags from the race. So our producer's saying the last 5 rounds of Sugo and the last 5 rounds, first laps. I think first laps, not rounds. Last round, like the Sugo Super GT Champion. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Next year, though, 2 races head-to-head, GT500 versus DTM, and oh, look, he's just run away. Well, he's legged it. Well,
but no dates announced yet. We were expecting some dates or some indication of
the
dates.
German round for the challenge races will be in October, around the same time as the Japanese Grand Prix and WEC in Japan, and then the Japanese return leg will be held just after this race, the finale of the 2019 Super GT season. Track's not announced, the specific weekend's not announced, but you can probably work it out.
And especially as the DTM finale is being moved to the very beginning of October, or normally it's the 3rd weekend in October, but we're still waiting for confirmation for those dates and the circuits.
The circuits, my understanding, the circuits is probably going to be Nürburgring, and I would suspect Suzuka or Fuji Speedway. Shame, I wish it was Sugo.
Well, if it's not the same weekend as Japanese Grand Prix, it would probably be Fuji.
Well, he looks very wet, doesn't he, Jensen? He's a bit soggy. He's going to really stink on that steam train home.
He is.
You wouldn't want to sit next to him. It's only a little train as well. I mean, if you miss the steam train, you've got this little sort of runaway carriage style thing on the Muku Railway, and it's just like, and it's a little open carriage, and it's just a bit quite antisocial sitting like when he's soaking wet like that. It'll make the seat wet. Yeah, that's what the Zensurumo drivers are just saying. I'm not sitting next to him on the way back. And everyone's saying, yeah, you are. That's why he doesn't look too happy now. That's why we're off. Forget that. And well, that's it. Jensen still hasn't vacated the podium. He's just smiling and wet.
It'll be a fun party this evening.
Well, stay with us. We'll have a little bit of a recap of, I think, the entire Super GT season.
And a little bit of news about 2019 coming up shortly.
Oh, really? Okay, well, apparently we've been getting some news about 2019 coming up shortly, I've just been told. You can see a screen that's got the news on it. I can't see this screen. So, well, stay with us. There's some breaking news. I don't know what that is.
And it's a provisional calendar for the new season.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
The Okayama opens the year. Fuji Speedway round 2. Third round is Suzuka Circuit. Thailand is 4th. Fuji Speedway, Autopolis, Sportsland, Sugo, penultimate round. That's shifted back, hasn't it? And Twin Ring Motegi rounds out the year. There are those dates. Book them in your diary.
So yeah, just a swap really between Autopolis and Sugo.
Now the new night race in Malaysia will take place in 2020. I think that replaces one of the Fuji Speedway races because of the pressure on the Olympics.
Summer Olympics, yes.
The Tokyo Olympics means basically you haven't got a hope in hell of getting a hotel around that time of year. And obviously the Paralympics will follow that. Will still make it quite different. Well, there's all the fans. I'm not. No idea. The Prius crashed, the Epson crashed, the Subaru didn't blow up this time, and they hit it to make sure it did. Button won his first race in many, many years. And a girl prayed, a car had an accident, a man looked grumpy. The Lexus battle went on, car won, didn't, but that man did. In this final battle round Twin Ring Motegi, there were tears of joy and tears of anguish from Nick Cassidy. Thanks for joining us here on NISMO TV. It's been a fantastic 2018 Super GT season, but we're not done yet. We will be bringing you NISMO Festival live from Fuji Speedway on the 2nd of December, so don't forget to hit like and subscribe and stay tuned for that. I also want to highlight on the 15th of December, the first ever running, well, in racing competition of the Nissan Formula E car. It's going to be very interesting to see how that gets on, but its first run will be at NISMO Festival, and we'll be talking a lot more about that in the weeks to come. So, but to round it all up now, don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe. I've been Sam Collins. This has been 2018 Super GT. Thank you very much for joining us.
And see you in 2019.
See you in 2019. Thank you very much.